Oh, like I said, today's guest, Rich Finley Schumate. Hey, Gibbs. All right, we're back in there. Let me allow him now that I've flexed my music enough. Please hold. Please hold, audio listeners, video watchers, as old ass Rich Friendly Shoemate might be technologically challenged. I didn't know that was one of his challenges. Might not be. We'll see. Making some adjustments. I'm excited to be back in the game. Let's see what Rich is doing. Besides a whole lot of nothing. You would have your box, your chat box muted, bruh. Just like a 57-year-old. He's not 57 years old. He's not 57 years old. But he's fucking old enough to possibly not understand how capable and simple at the same time that Zoom is. He should have told me this, and I would have coached him. But here we are. We'll take it as it comes. I am a kung fu guy, a Wing Chun man, and that's one of our credos. Just take it as it comes. No, brother. Give me a moment, gang. You are now listening to the hits. 100.9 The Wiz. That was my hometown radio station. 100.9, 100.9 The Wiz. Then it turned to some other kind of bullshit. And then radio just kind of went away entirely, you know what I'm saying? The bogus ass Sirius or whatever took over. I mean, so we're pretty much no, he fell out. He dropped out of the damn. Maybe he's gonna try to log back in. Yeah, that's probably what he's gonna do. He's gonna log back in. Hopefully everybody out there's been cool. Oh, here he is. Sort of. Let's see if he appears. The audio's connected. I see you. I see you. I can't. There he is.
How dare you?
What? Hey, bro, your voice wasn't working. Either the voice wasn't working or your audio wasn't working.
There's a lot of things that are not working.
Yo, you said a mouthful there, sir.
Yeah, there's something wrong with my computer. It's not picking up the audio, so I'm having to do this on my phone. So forgive me for getting a little set up a little haphazardly here. But
hey, bro, I was just vamping and riffing. You know what I'm saying?
I know. I was hearing it.
I got that. Oh, did you hear all of that the whole time?
I heard all your smack talk. I said, I hear your smack talking.
Oh, man. I had to give you some shit.
No, dude, I deserve it. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you too, brother. Audio listeners, this is Rich Finley Shoemate. That is the introduction. I'm sorry, it was super lackluster. But here we are. We take it as it comes.
It's appropriate. It's appropriate for me.
Everything matches.
Yes. And for if anybody's watching on YouTube, forgive me for the screen that is in the back. That's
Oh, I get it. So you're just
like
gonna put some crazy shit up there, like a
no.
hentai octopus.
No. And if you hear a little bit of noise, I got two wolves going at it here.
Oh,
Uh,
you do have a
yeah,
Balto?
I,
You got
I have
Balto
three.
and
I do. I have three huskies, and so two of them are upstairs right now because our third one had a surgery, so we're having to separate. So they're a little upset, but then that's appropriate for the past week and a half.
you've sown the
So
seeds of discord within your
yeah,
pack.
I have.
That is
I
what you've
definitely have.
done, you evil overlord.
Well, I've been
Um,
called worse in the last 10 days.
dude, you know what? JC just got a husky. Not Jesus Christ, my
Really?
homie. Also my
Well,
homie, but no,
very cool.
a
Very cool.
very
They're
good friend of
great.
mine.
They're
Yeah,
very fun.
he got a white husky, dude. Like it's white, just all white with
Why is it
like
got to be all white? Why is it got to be
uh,
all white?
it's literally an albino. Eyes are silver. Have you ever heard of a husky?
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure. Yeah.
just silver, like almost look chrome silver,
Okay.
like
Nice.
really, yeah. Not even blue. I've never seen those eyes before.
Um, two two of my three have dark brown eyes, and then only one has the blue eyes.
Oh, for real?
So yeah,
Damn. I
yeah. Okay.
wonder.
You
I
two are
wonder
gonna
if
have to be
in the
quiet for this
world.
conversation.
I wonder if in the world of a husky, like is brown still a dominant trait and blue is a recessive in a dog's world? Since in ours, the Punnett squares would say, like blue eyes and shit are like recessive.
Yeah, it's weird, right? Because I think blue eyes are recessive, and I think blue eyes you're supposed to get from your mother's side. Although I
Really?
have blue eyes and my dad has blue eyes and my mom has hazel. So
Really?
I don't know. I think sometimes God just goes, give us to
we see all kind of factory defects out here, bro. I got some.
them.
I'm
how was
sure
your how was your how was your workout, by the way? Are you all right?
my brother. Let me just. All right, fine. Let's talk about quarantine fitness modalities.
Oh, well, my portion of the fitness mode is going to be very brief. So you go ahead and do the big part.
You know what? I kept it to about a half an hour today. I went bananas, man. I've done
Okay.
a lot of kettlebells. So today, I mean, you can't isolate any part of your body with a kettlebell whatsoever. It's designed to work every fiber of your being. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, just the whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're about to wreck yourself. And so
Yeah. They're really effective.
they're the
Yeah.
most effective thing really I've ever used for real. Like,
It's a
it's
it's a
crazy.
weird thing. It's a weird thing to use for like the first time. You're like, how's this thing gonna? Like when you first do it, and then after that, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't go back to like regular dumbbells or anything.
Yeah, I feel like I've been stupid my entire life having used things with bars. I'm like, that's just cool, but I feel way stronger and more powerful a person when just that kettlebell, man. And it don't take nearly as much weight, but it
Yeah.
works you in a way where you can't isolate. Like your body has to become an orchestra. You got to have
Yeah.
Hans Zimmer booms. You know what I'm saying? The tubas and the
So
bassoons and everything's working together.
so so are you all? Do you have equipment at home, or did you go out and buy stuff during the pandemic, or
So I've been
like
building
you're not
shit.
back to the gym yet, right?
Oh no, hell no. Ain't
Okay.
no telling when we're gonna do that. And I'm a little too sensible a person and cautious a person to just Eddie Guerrero frog splash back into the gym. There's 1,000 people there at a time. You know what
The
I'm saying?
Eddie Guerrero frog splash
Frog
reference. I
splash.
love it. I love it.
Hey, this is my brother, yo. Like
Broke
he
his
he
broke his
immediately got my
broke his
reference.
arm. Oh, dude, broke his arm first appearance in WWE with the frog splash.
He wasn't
Like
built to
big
last.
big debut, big debut, did a mega frog splash and then broke his arm.
Oh my gosh, man.
Latino Heat.
Mm. That boy
So
need that boy needed some milk. Rest in power.
so so real quick, I was thrilled that you wanted to chat. I've been thinking about you a lot. Uh, obviously during all this craziness. Stop it. Be quiet. My dogs again. I'm so sorry. Um, so, do you mind if I fire questions at you back and forth? I mean, I know this is your show,
Bro, we
but
just having a
I've been
conversation.
okay, cool, because I've been super curious. So, first and foremost, how are you doing? Like, how has everything in the last week and a half hit you? And let's work backwards. Let's start from today. So, as of today, it's June the 3rd, and the announcement came out today of the charges for the other three officers, and then the upgraded charge to murder in the second degree. So, how has all of that hit you today?
How does that affect me today?
How does it? How did all that hit you today? Like the news of that, like you know,
Oh,
do you feel
um,
good about that, or is it kind of late? I mean, just how did all of it hit
you know that they got charged, that's cool, but it's three human beings. It's three people. I've
you?
been
Yeah,
dealing with this from the moment I did a moonwalk out of my mama. You know what I'm saying? Like the
so
moment
you were so
the,
you were so you were feet first, apparently.
yeah. Yo. Well, yeah, I probably was.
Mm.
I just hit the ground running. Um, for me, man, it was such a. It's three people, like three individuals. That's three. We're surrounded by millions of people. It took millions of people to
I
get
mean,
that
four. I mean, four, or technically four, right?
four.
I mean,
You
we're
know,
yeah,
technically
we're count.
four.
I mean, if he even counts as a person,
That's
which
cool,
is debatable. Yeah.
but it's a war. You know what I'm saying? Like in that sense, like this kind of battle, it's
Mhm.
so massive. You know, like
Yeah.
there's because I've encountered people with that kind of potential, with that kind of killer intent, um, against a person in color. You know, my whole life, like just surrounded by them. You know what I'm saying?
Now,
Um,
do you go ahead?
so
I'm so sorry.
it won't be the last time. There have been so many before, and who like these are only the crimes that were considered crimes. These were the guys that got caught.
These are the ones we hear about. Sure.
These are the only ones that you hear about. We live in a
Right.
place where it took all the way until this technological you know revolution, like these advancements, like these apps. Um, you're not needing you know a camcorder, or an expensive camera. It's all
Right. Like
stuff.
like Rodney King. Rodney King was one
Yeah,
of those gigantic camcorders.
yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like now, everyone has the ability to become or be a journalist or just be a reporter on the ground. A lot of my boots on the ground, but a lot of people, a lot of black lives and black bodies, they still haven't found. And it's been like that since the very beginning. Like that's what people don't understand. Like these are the people of the moment, and it's magnificent and it warms my heart, to see this outcry and just see so many people that don't look like us at all taken to the streets
Mhm.
because we tired. You know what
Sure.
I'm saying?
Oh
Like
my God.
because not only have we spent our entire time here in America fighting for ourselves, but everyone else has been the beneficiaries of that fight. And the people doing the fighting, the people with their bodies and lives and their families at stake and at risk. Um, they took all of they were the battering ram. Things did change, but it just didn't change for the people doing the fight in a
Yeah.
large sense. You know what I'm saying? There have been plenty of improvements. This is still historically one of the best times to be alive. Um, and our experience is still the same. There's still so many similarities. And it takes a special eye, like people just don't have the eye to see, like the people who are simply subjected to what they're subjected to. Like we have a different kind of vantage point by which we view life, a different lens entirely.
Hmm.
um, it's cool that these three have been convicted, but there's a much larger problem. um, Not everybody is outside.
Well, they've been charged. We hope they get convicted,
We hope, yeah.
and they could get convicted, but
Yeah.
We've seen crazy things happen.
Hey, crazy shit's happening now.
Well, yeah, but I'm just talking about once 12 people go in a room and start talking,
you
you
know,
know, who
we
knows?
we've been let down a lot, man, and
Sure.
we're so used to disappointment, Rich. We're so used to disappointment that we're fully prepared to be disappointed. We always play to win, but we're fully prepared to be disappointed because this experience here is oftentimes way more disappointing than not. You know what I'm saying? But we do our best. We try to stay out the
Does
way.
does does this give you any? Because okay, so like one thing I definitely wanted to talk about was like I don't. I mean, I guess you could consider me like an average white guy, or if you see me dance, a painfully white guy. but but like I like to consider myself, enlightened. I was raised a certain way. I remember being 7 years old, and my dad. Oh my God, dude! That's like one of the proudest things in my family's history. My dad, back in West Virginia, where I grew up,
Oh.
my dad was the only white pallbearer at a black funeral,
Mm.
and I was like 7, but like I just intrinsically, as much as a 7-year-old could digest, I
Right.
realized that it was a big deal. But to me, it was just, Tom. Interestingly enough, this guy's name that passed away
His
was
name was
Tom.
Tom.
He worked with my dad, and I almost said Uncle Tom. I didn't mean it that way, but I
Man.
used to I used to sit on this dude's lap, and he would like scratch my back and just tell me stories, and he was amazing, right? And so when my dad was a pallbearer, and as I got older and kind of saw things, more and saw the Robbie King uh, verdicts and riots and so on and so forth, it took on more importance. But my dad just always raised me to see everybody the way that God sees it. But at the same time, I'm not one of those people that's like denying that racism exists, or I think it's important. Like LeBron, okay. LeBron said with the Albury case. I think I'm saying his last name right. Um, and LeBron said something along the lines of, "We are literally hunted every day of our lives." And my first thought, the first thing that went through my mind was, "Well, that's not true. Well, that's not true, right?" Because number one, I don't want to live in a world where that's a reality. But then I thought, okay, but wait a second. It's not about whether I think it's true or not. And it's not even about whether LeBron lives in that kind of world, because obviously, Chris Rock did a great bit about if you're rich, it can kind of it, it doesn't it doesn't equate things, but it can make things a little easier in terms of neighborhoods you live in, security, et cetera, et cetera. But it doesn't eliminate racism. But it got me to thinking about all that really matters is if black men feel like they're hunted every day, then that's all that matters. It it
Mhm.
it doesn't even matter. Like I heard somebody spouting statistics on the radio, and it was a liberal station that was talking about this, but the number of unarmed black men that were killed last year, I think it was like 9. And then they said the number of unarmed white men that were shot was like 19. Now they weren't making the point that, oh well, it's more white than black, because you can look at the percentages and then you say, okay, well, looking at those percentages, black men are still killed at a higher rate than white men when they're unarmed, so on and so forth. And then that's even if you're looking at the stats like they're legitimate. Like, okay, those are 9 that we know about. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like what are the others? But so going back to my point, all that matters, communication exists in the um, eye of the receiver of the communication. And so I look at it like, okay, like for you, we've talked race issues a lot, but I don't think we've ever talked about this specific kind of dynamic. Do you feel, and I don't ask this question with any preconceived notion of what the answer should be. I just want to learn. Do you feel like that every day? Like, do you feel hunted every day? Or do you feel like any situation could turn into a powder keg that goes wrong and you end up on the wrong side of it?
That's what the hunt is.
Okay,
The hunt.
that's right.
That's what I meant from the moment. See, we can't take our black off,
Right.
but white people, and I said this in a previous podcast episode, white people can really essentially be whatever they want to be. I mean, they've spearheaded, like they can dabble and dip into whatever kind of slice of life they want, and it's of very little consequence. You know what I'm saying? They're seen as individuals. They're seen as unique. They're not seen as a monolith, this and that. Black people are this giant boogeyman hive mind. You know what I'm saying? We're seen as the same thing, and we're probably the most diverse representation and heterogeneous representation of humanity, in a large sense. Like,
sure.
Even from our youth, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're very, very diverse in thought, and then what we do, what our interests are, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when, like, degrees of blackness comes in, because we even have issues within our own community with an openness to everyone, because everyone, like, it's funny looking at shit as like an adult, like shit that you thought you had to hide as a kid or in high school or middle school. Like, I watch Dragon Ball Z, I watch anime, and then come to find out when you're grown ass men, everybody was watching the same shit. Like, everybody was just as nerdy as everybody else,
right?
But everybody would give everybody shit for just expressing that kind of uniqueness, like, about themselves. It's like, fuck, we was all on the same shit. Yep. We all watched SpongeBob. Yep. We all watched Gundam Wing. Yeah. Naruto. Straight up. Squad 7. Of course.
And see, for my generation, because I'm 45. So my generation, it was like 8, 9-year-old little boys rushing home after school to watch Wonder Woman and not telling anybody, and nobody really understanding why they were so excited to watch Wonder Woman.
Linda Carter.
With Linda Carter, right? So, but yeah, it's very true. It's very, or like when you first start watching wrestling and you don't want to tell anybody, but everybody's like giving the suck it sign or Stone Cold stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Back to the hunt part. So it's so easy, and I because I've been asked this before, other curious whites, because they just you just don't know. You just don't know, because it's just.
Isn't that what we should be doing though? Like,
yes, I love this.
I think white folks should be willing to be awkward and ask questions that may paint us in an awkward light, but it's just, hey, we need the information.
You just need the information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, even this week, like, this is probably the first one. I watched that tape last week, like all 9 minutes of it. And I force myself, whenever there's any kind of video of this stuff or whatever, like, I feel like it's my duty. I can't really explain it, but I feel like, no, I need to watch this because I need to know that this is going on, and I need to figure out ways that, at least on an individual level, I can make sure that I'm treating people right, that I'm understanding the struggle, that I'm empathetically trying to connect with what people feel, because I've been treated crappy by cops twice, and I mean, that's nothing, And one time I got pulled over because I was 21 years old driving my dad's Cadillac in rural Virginia, and this like hillbilly white cop pulled me over and like gave me a really hard time, like pulled his gun on me because he just thought 21-year-olds shouldn't be driving a Cadillac, And he followed me for like 10 minutes, just following me, like didn't even turn his signal on or anything. Then he finally turned his signal on. And when he came up to my window, I did notice this. This is funny now, like 24 years later. But you know what I said to him when he pulled me over? So I'm 21 years old, white cop comes up to the window, and I roll the window down, and I said to him, "Why'd you pull me over?"
Yeah, just like a white dude. Just like a white dude. Right? White dudes can do that shit. They can do that shit.
Now see,
they can talk all kind of cash shit. When cops pull them the fuck over, So here is where the hunt
And
comes in. We
that's a
know,
different experience for you. I
we know.
totally get it.
So here's the fucking difference. We know that we're being hunted. It's easy as fuck for us to die, be
Just
killed,
looking for an excuse.
mistaken, or they're already looking for some shit to get into in their small boring ass town,
Right.
and a nigga crosses their path. It's like, this could get interesting. And
Do
so
you?
Jebediah, whoop whoop, just curious. He's curious. He's just, I'm gonna see what he's up to. Like,
Yeah. What are you
none,
doing in these
none of
trail
that
parks?
shit from Deuce Hazard is like, that's real shit with black people in the car or whatever. Like, it ain't the General Lee. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, your headlights out, bash, right? And you're like, oh hell no. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
we had to have mapped out what towns or parts of town you can even drive through. You know what I'm saying? Because we just know, like, because it's so segregated to this day.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, yeah, don't go. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing going through Anderson Township or wherever the hell? That's where all the white people are. Like, what were you doing up in Mason or out in Loveland or out in Indian Hills? Like, that's where, rich white people were, or just white people,
And
period, like
did
upper
you
class.
even
You would get
could you
pulled
even
over
catch
just for having
black?
a car that just wasn't dope, or it didn't seem to fit the mode or the bill of the neighborhood it was going through. So I had a busted up 94 Chevy Cavalier. I was damn sure in a nicer neighborhood than what that car would even qualify to be in. And I get pulled over. It's going to happen. It's going
Yeah.
to happen to me. I
Yeah.
know this. I know that I ain't got to have shit in the car. I know I ain't got to have done nothing wrong.
You're
But I
gonna be two
know that
hands on the wheel, yes sir.
if
What
they
the yeah.
simply if they simply get a glimpse of you and they're like, that is like, that's a male black. And that's even how they refer to black people when they're driving down. Like, you've seen cops, it's a male black, not a person, then they nothing attached to it, no history, no culture attached. It's a
Yeah.
male black. Those are metrics. Those are
And
metrics.
if they pull a white guy over, I pulled this guy over.
They
He's not
maybe.
even labeled as a white guy. He's just
No, he's just a guy. You know what I'm saying? Probably
yeah,
he's
because
probably
that's the
just
default, right?
a guy,
That is
is
the default.
Caucasian male, something like that. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? But it's so easy. Like, for instance, I mean, you can't go through a fucking grocery store. Like, you can't be in Target, which, I mean, it's not the highest echelon of places to go shopping, but they seem to feel like they're fancy. And so you'll hear shit like over the PA system, or someone's walkie-talkie of someone pretending to be in the aisle shopping and shit, but it's like an employee and they're just hanging around lingering, while you're actually doing some shopping, and
Oh,
so they're just hanging out.
so you're in the same aisle as somebody with a walkie-talkie, and they're just low
Yeah,
key.
and shit like that.
Wow.
Like, that's a part of the hunt. Like, that's the hunt. Is
Ah.
this
Okay.
inherent guilt that we have? Like, we're inherently guilty, and they're inherently suspicious. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
even down to what the word black connotes is not positive. Black magic ain't positive. Like, just go down to etymology. You know what I'm saying? And then we
Yeah,
were
that's true.
just eventually classified and
Lightness, darkness.
reclassified, and yeah,
Yeah.
classified again and reclassified. You know what I'm saying? Like the bad cowboy in old Hollywood. That was the bad one. Usually. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like, that was the bad fucking guy. So now you've classified this group of people, just people, who represent every color of the fucking rainbow, as uh black. Like, all of this stuff is like, this is what I have the eye to see. You had no way of knowing that. You had no fucking way of knowing that.
Oh, the target thing's amazing to
Because
me. Like
you haven't
that would never occur to me.
you haven't had to deal with the consequence of being, you're just being.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you could aspire to and wish and just do whatever you want to fucking do. Ultimately, you have all your peers to compete against. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
have you have your actual limitations, but it has nothing to do with what your identity is. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You
Right.
could you could disappear and just get into whatever world you want to get into and just finesse and move about that world pretty unimpeded, right?
Well,
It's
it's
more of a
like I was born.
meritocracy. With me, I've got to deal with the entire way that the entire world perceives me at all times, and I have to develop in real time a constant game plan, and have to readjust and make adjustments and do this, do that. Oh shit, that's a real threat. So I have to look out for alligators, tigers, lions, bears. You know what I'm saying? You just have to not fuck up yourself. Like you just have to not fuck up. Like you just have to try
Well,
a little
I've
bit.
done a really terrible job of that,
You know what I'm saying?
unfortunately. No, but it's like,
You got to
so
work hard to fuck your life.
yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm saying. You got to work hard to fuck your life up. It's so
My
easy to
credit
fuck
is
our lives up.
terrible. Like my credit is terrible. What is wrong with me? You
I
know
know
what I
what the
mean?
fuck is wrong with you, Rich.
Seriously,
Your
it's
name is
awful,
Rich, Rich.
right? Oh God, no. But it's almost like, like I have a picture. I have a picture of myself like from the moment I was born. Like your the hospital picture, whatever. And every now and then I'll look at that picture and I'll be like, you know what? That little guy right there was never told no, was never like introduced to hardship, difficulty, or anything like that at that moment. Like anything negative, I learned and took on. But I would almost imagine for you and kind of what you're saying, and forgive me if I'm wrong in saying this, but whereas I'm born, and again, I don't feel like I need to couch this stuff because you and I are real with each other. But it's almost like a white kid is born with infinite, like kind of like what you were saying before. Like you could do anything. Whereas a black kid is born inherently with, okay, well, you're gonna have to overcome this, you're gonna have to overcome that, you're gonna have to struggle with this and struggle with that. So it's like you're right out the box immediately in the struggle.
We were taught by our parents, our grandparents, all of the village griots. Uh, we have to work twice as hard to get half as far. That is
Yeah.
times four.
Yeah.
That's four times the fucking, you know what I'm saying? Twice as hard to get half as far. And it's never not been true. Never not been true. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we don't have dense networks of people already in positions to get us more easily and less impeded to where we're trying to go and where we want to be. You know what I'm saying? Oftentimes, unless it's with a black network or whatever it's going to be. But man, those are so few in number.
There's
You know what I'm
there's not a
saying?
lot of there's not a lot of examples uh, of black males failing upward, where you see a lot
No,
of white dudes fail
you
upward
see a lot of
all the
accidentally successful ass white dudes, bro,
time.
all over the
Exactly.
place, and that's their fucking story. I hear it every fucking day of my life. It's like, oh yeah, man, it was just like I woke up, I had bad hair, and I just said yeah, and I don't know, and I don't quite understand what you're saying or getting at there, and then yet they said you're the guy. I was hired, and then
Give
they
me
just like having me
give
around,
me the
and
give me the give me the black Hunter Biden.
the
Who is that? Like
black
that's
who?
the black Hunter Biden. Who is
Oh
it?
my gosh.
Right?
I,
Like I can't think of one.
I mean, you know what I'm saying?
And
Like,
those kind of white dudes are everywhere. I wasn't one of those white dudes. I kind of
no,
wish I was.
I'm telling you, bro. Any brother, any black man for real that you see just prominent or with any kind of notoriety, know that with whatever his skill set is, he's the motherfucking shit. He
Oh,
might be a
dude.
dirt bag. He might be a dirt bag, but boy, is he, you know, probably the creme de la creme, probably the cream of the crop. Like he ain't felling upward. He's got to be fucking good.
Oh,
He's got to be
and not
good.
only and not only that, not only did he fight the system and expectations, he probably fought a lot of elements within his own community
Yes,
that
we don't belong to nobody's world. None.
I heard you
We
I
have
heard
no
you say
space.
this in your I heard you say this in your podcast the other day, and it was really enlightening to me that you would have that perception, and it made all the sense in the world to me when you explained it. But when you're like, we don't belong anywhere, we don't belong. I mean, that was amazing for me to hear.
Yeah. And that's what I was hoping that podcast would do for people is like, let me just be as raw as I can possibly be and just say it as frank as I can possibly say it. You know what I'm saying? It's like we belong to no land. Like W.E.B. Du Bois said that shit way back when in the 40s. I do believe is when he wrote The Souls of Black Folk. I don't remember the exact year, but that concept of double consciousness. Do you know how much processing like if we were computers, man, like we have to process so much more information just for survival's sake, just so we get home alive, just so we survive that routine traffic stop, which isn't so routine. That could be the end of it for you. Uh, we have to do so much adapting and try and assimilate here and just maintain our dignity there, and then hey, that ain't the time for this. Go on and get up that ladder here, and hey, fuck that ladder there, and then you know what I'm saying. There's so many maneuvers, so there's just so many moves. Like we've got to be so good at kung fu, just mental judo. You know what I'm saying? Like just the mental arts. You know what I'm saying? Like
Well, you guys,
we had to have a PhD in white people just to know how to move about the environment. You know what I'm
well,
saying?
and just to
We're
think,
masters in you, and you guys fail at us. Like you see what I'm saying? Like it's like that. We get an
now,
A plus. We will ace your exam. We do. That's why we're here. That's why we're able to do what we do despite what we go through. We ace
yeah.
that exam every fucking day. We rise to the fucking occasion. You
So
know, we
have
had a lot of fuck ups like anyone else, but you know, overall, you know,
have have the have the events of the last week and a half, do they give you any hope? Because I'll just say from my standpoint, and I am perfectly ready to be wrong. And please tell me if you think that I should be or should feel that way. But like at least for me, and again, I don't know if this is the typical white opinion. It's just mine. So I mean, I don't know. But I feel like this one is different. I feel like and maybe I'm just being naive because I want to be naive. I want to be optimistic. I want to hope for the best in people and hope that things get better because I really don't. I just want everybody to be safe. I want everybody to have opportunity. I want everybody to prosper and just live their lives and for everybody to get out of everybody's way.
right.
And so in that in that vein, I feel like this one is different. But is that just me? Does it feel any different for you?
I've
I mean,
seen.
I know you said you're anticipating disappointment, and I totally get that. Like you're ready to be disappointed. But has there been anything about this, whether it's reaction overseas? I mean, because you got people in London protesting and things like that. I don't think we've seen that for U.S. racism before.
Nah, they've never given a fuck
So
about us.
so I mean, does it give you any hope whatsoever, or just how are you feeling about it?
You know, I was driving. I was in I want to say Valley Village, maybe North Hollywood, the other day when this all started really to go down, and I saw four or five white kids. And I know what they was doing, what they were doing, and I saw them on the corner outside of a Mobile gas station, and they had these signs, and I looked at the signs, and I was like, BLM, Black Lives Matter. I am not black, but I am with you. This is what's up. This is what I haven't seen, and this is the only thing that we haven't tried. Is like so. This is the first time that those so-called allies got the fuck up off of the couch, put their bodies on the line, their freedoms at stake for people who have always and have done nothing but do that for them. You know what I'm saying? So it could have been the neighborhoods that I was driving through, but you know, it was a lot. It's been a lot of not black people out there, a lot
Yeah,
of non-black people out there,
yeah,
much more than brothers and sisters. And I was like, something clicked. I was like, you know what? This might be it. This might be the stuff. In fact, I know it. I like we've always been missing something. And I've studied, some of the movements, in the 60s and that sort of thing. I was like, man, like what? SNCC tried it, SNCC was doing their thing, NAACP were doing their thing, you know what I'm saying? And then you had the radicals, and then you had Ayers and the Weathermen doing their thing. You had the Southern Christian Conference, you know what I'm saying? Like you had Martin Luther King doing his thing in his way. You had Malcolm X doing his thing in, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's way. all of these different ways, and I was like, man, every one of those ways had a hole in it in its game. You know, that
Mm-hmm.
completely peaceful shit. I'm like, yeah, we're still fighting today because that wouldn't have been it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You can't just torch every fucking thing because that also isn't quite it. But when I simply saw a change in the demographic, I was like, hmm. And then today, Rich, I saw this white family, this couple, and then I saw a little white boy, a little blonde, with a sign up saying Black Lives Matter. And I said, I think this is a George Foreman quote by George. I think that we've got it.
Mm.
Right? Because revolutions are messy. People, you know, some white people have been coming up to me in duress because I mean, they're not used to being under duress. And so I get it. You know what I'm saying?
Now, what do
I
you mean they've been
understand.
coming up to you because they want to feel better about themselves in some way,
It's a
or
human thing, man. That's what fucking people do.
yeah,
Yeah, so I was in the parking lot and I was going up to Sprouts. You know, that's one of my joints. To get some groceries, you know, some produce. You know, I love me some Sprouts. Shout out
you're
to
so
Sprouts.
you're so healthy.
I know, right?
And I'm sitting here like, so I went me to Del Taco.
So this white lady pulled up in her Jeep and she's like, "Are they closed?" I was like, "Yeah, they always shutting down early for shit, especially nowadays." And she's like, "Oh
Yeah,
damn." She's like, "I'm so tired of this." I was like, "Well, so," I was like, "So are the people outside. So are the people causing this, causing the curfews and shit. So
yeah,
so are the people looting. All right, I don't know what the fuck they on, but so are the protesters. So that everyone that's legitimately defending the honor and the memory of those that have fallen due to police brutality and racism and bigotry. So do the black people. We are." Mary, like Fannie Lou Hamer said, "I am sick and tired of being sick and tired." And she said
yeah,
that shit back in the, I don't know, the 60s.
yeah. That's been a long time. Yeah.
It's been a long fucking time ago, but so many people in my family remember this like it was yesterday. My dad is in this, my dad's about to be 60. He is 60 years old, July 1st. He still shouldn't have to, I can't imagine how he feels. You know, like it's got to be some crazy, crazy emotions because he was holding, you know, and picketing and doing things like that as a kid when he was in the 70s and shit like that. So that
Mm-hmm.
was like that was your life. That was your life. Like now this shit's just rare. Like this is a rare chandelier, this moment here. This has been the most perfect of storms that I've ever seen. You know, like we've all been put in a position by some pandemic, some lockdown, some quarantine shit from this far, far land away, far east. That
Mm-hmm.
shit hopped on a plane, skibbity doo bop bit, right on over to America and got us too. And the whole world was locked down. The whole world had time today. The whole world had time today.
Yeah.
And not a fucking thing to do and not a fucking thing to look forward to for real. People were just thinking about
and
survival,
and and
living,
not a job, and not a job to
no
worry about what
job,
to do tomorrow.
nothing's
Yeah.
occupying their time, nothing's taking up their attention, not even the family members they're locked in with. They're like, I'm trying to get away from you too. And then
And
everybody got on
probably
the same,
wanting to get out of the house.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so everybody had the same show on at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
This show that we're living in, it's got to have the greatest ratings of all time.
Oh, and it is a show. It really.
I wonder what the Nielsen and ComScore numbers are for the, like you know the live seven of you know 2020
Mm-hmm.
2020. So for the first time, we've been screaming like we've been screaming from the very beginning. We've been screaming this entire time, you know, fighting, bleeding, dying. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, just trying to chill, just like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? But we were only ones that told us we really don't belong here. I'm like, we was. How do you think we got here? How do you think that we got here?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like this wasn't necessarily a choice that we made. This is our home. So
You've been
no,
making
we
the
ain't
best of
fucking
it.
going nowhere.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to deal with
Yeah.
this. We and then it became you're gonna have to deal with this to we're gonna have to deal with this. But it wasn't us saying it. It was whites. It was the mainstream America Finally, because everybody could hear that disenfranchised group scream. Finally, because everything shut the fuck up. Everything shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
All the shit that everybody was crying about, everybody shut the fuck up about their problems because everyone was just trying to survive and live, not catch that COVID bullshit and not spread that shit to their loved ones, their old ass mammy and pappy,
Yeah.
grandparents, aunts and uncles, anyone they held dear. That's like, I just got to stay fucking indoors. Yeah, that tanked every fucking thing because it's gone down for far too long. But everybody had, everyone was a captive audience. You know what I'm saying? Like so many people have hit me up, like, I never knew. And I'm like, motherfucker, have you not been oh. But it's like, you know what?
Wow, you really
They
had
didn't
people
have
say
the
I
ears
never
to
knew.
hear. You have to be trained to hear the sound of someone's cry, right?
Yeah.
They didn't have to train the
The
ear or
dog
the trained
whistles.
eye. Yeah, like they don't know what to look for and look at. And then also, they don't want to be reminded of the struggle and the problem. That's a human thing too. It's like that. I mean, that's why we step the fuck over homeless people. Like they're in holograms. It's like I'm not trying to deal with how close I am to also being on the sidewalk with this motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Not today, bro. Right? Like it's almost a canned response. Yep, not today. Like you could have 100 singles in your pocket. And I ain't got no change on me. I'm just trying to get the fuck out of there. I don't need to be reminded of how fucked up this shit can be and get right. Like that's the kind of shit that people be on. And everybody had time today. Like that's why I called that podcast. I named it "Everybody Got Time Today" because ain't nobody got no jobs. Everybody got fired on their day off, just like Day did. It's Friday. Damn. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. How you get fired on your day off?
You gotta be a dumb.
Ain't nobody got a job, but we do have time. We ain't ever had that shit. We ain't never had time. Never in human history have we all had time. You see what I'm saying?
I'm so like, I'm so glad that you're having that reaction because that's what I would hope for.
The whites were like,
but I was afraid. I was afraid that it might just be like too little, too late, or something like that. I don't know. I don't know if anybody else has communicated this to you, but I'll tell you where I was coming from, and maybe other white people have this reaction too. But there are times, like with this one, I was like, do y'all even want to hear from us? Like, is it just another, like me giving my opinion? Is it just, oh, another white person giving an opinion? And should we just shut up and listen? Because I'm willing to do that and I'm ready to do that. But at the same time, then I feel like silence is simplicity. And so you want to make sure that you add your voice to the growing masses that are standing up and saying, we're not going to put up with this shit anymore. So it's kind of a, like on the totem pole of importance, it's way down the totem pole of what is important. So I'm not trying to like do white people problems or anything like that with you. But in terms of like, maybe not even for me, but maybe for somebody else who may watch this or hear this or whatever, like what is the best, most effective way that we can help and elicit change in your opinion? Because sometimes I feel like white people have a tendency, because it's ingrained in us, that we should have an opinion about everything because we get an opinion about everything. You know what I mean? Like whether it's right or wrong, we always are allowed to give our opinion, and we almost always give our opinion, whether it's wanted or not. And I'm just, I struggled with this one because I was a little like, well, I don't want to make this about what my feelings are about this situation, because that's not what's at the heart of the matter. What's at the heart of the matter are people who are experiencing the hunt, and we need to hear them. And, regardless of the fact that I feel like I've tried to do that my entire life, with this one, I was a little like, I'm a little unsure. I'm a little unsure of what to do. Should I speak up or should I just be quiet? And I imagine some white people might be feeling that too. And I mean that like the good intentioned one, like the good one.
All right. So
Yeah, I'll shut up.
imagine I mean, what does doing nothing do?
Nothing.
I know,
I
right?
feel nothing.
Isn't that
Yeah.
crazy how that works? Like
Yeah,
just
exactly.
shut the fuck up.
Nothing from nothing means nothing.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Closed mouth don't get fed. You know what I'm saying? Like it's amazing because there's a nice finesse. It's just like it's almost like having common sense. You know what I'm saying? Like knowing what to say, when to say it. Read the fucking rooms. Read the room. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because there is a way to go about saying some real ass shit that real ass motherfuckers can vibe with, can get down with. And it's like, yeah, say that. Because best believe me, a sister in the crowd is about to be like, say that. You know what I'm saying? Talk that shit. It's just got to
Mm-hmm.
be proper. You know what I'm saying? Not thinking that you can explain our situation better than we can, because that's not finesse.
Right. White's
You
playing
see what
it.
I'm
Right.
saying? Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
white I'm like, sit your motherfucking ass down. You don't know the first fucking thing or the second or third thing about the fuck is going on, but pay attention. And based on the data gathered, you know, spit that shit, talk that shit. It'll come from a real place. Has to come from a real place. If not, we'll be the first to tell you.
Oh, you could smell it a mile away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you could really smell
you know,
it. But
you've always been a genuine man, and so all of the shit that you've talked has been proper. Like talk that shit, you know what I'm saying? And you're coming from the best of places, and people can tell when you're trying to come from the best of places. You know what I'm saying? And then they can help steer you in the proper direction and that sort of thing. Because you don't know it all. We don't know. I don't know it all even. You know what I'm saying? And I'm in the shit. But
and I think that's
to be
important, right?
silent,
Like it's important to say, hey, I don't know.
yeah,
I don't know what's right. Help me.
help me.
Like my
Yeah, and
heart's
then
in the right place, but I know I need to be something. But
and
my
this
heart's in the right place and help me find my way.
and this is what has been unique about this movement is that if they were to be silent and be quiet, they wouldn't be outside right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm in the house chilling, and I feel safe and I'm cozy knowing that I got motherfuckers out there like going to war for
Mm-hmm.
me this time. Finally,
Mm-hmm.
we're not alone in this shit that we should all be involved in, because it's about all of us.
Sure.
It's a reflection of all of us. You know what I'm saying? If you're proud to be an American, make a proud America. Make a fucking America to be proud of. Period. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know when your kitchen ain't clean, how many fucking times are you gonna walk past the dishes? Oh, you're gonna wait until it looks like Joe's apartment to do something? You know what I'm saying? Roaches playing cards and shit, dominoes. You
Mm-hmm.
wanna wait until then? Because that's what this shit is. They were like, fuck, there are ants everywhere. Every fucking where there are ants. This is gross. This is crazy. Now everybody's getting busy. Now everybody's getting active, because the sooner we all get this shit done, the sooner we can all get back to playing video games. This reminds me of Saturday mornings, right? My mom, my dad would start blasting music, and we knew what it was. We knew what time it was. We had to clean and shine every fucking thing in the
Oh,
house,
okay. Okay.
right? That shit wasn't that shit was an event. You know what I'm saying? And then you smelled the most beautiful pancakes, beautiful bacon, beautiful eggs, cheese eggs, not just regular eggs. That's for psychopaths. I'm talking about cheesy. It had Land O'Lakes American cheese in these eggs. Legendary, beautiful stuff, man. And them grand biscuits, the ones that go poof, and then you
You're
just put the bitches
killing
in
me.
it.
You're
Oh my
killing me.
gosh.
You need to stop.
Hey, you from West Virginia. You know what I'm
I
talking about.
am. I know,
So
dude.
like it's like that, you know what I'm
I put
saying?
the cracker in Cracker Barrel.
Hey,
That's me.
we've given
There.
them a lot of our funds. That is my shit. That
Dude,
chicken fried
love
chicken,
that place.
that
And
chicken
they're fried okra.
with the sawmill gravy, man. Listen, yeah, the
You know
country
they
came
have
out of
one.
both of us.
You know they have one in California.
Yes, and
There's
like Oxnard, me and D Hill have talked about making a trip, a whole trip, because I'm going.
I would totally go.
All
I
right,
would totally go if you want to
no,
go.
that's just happening. Like we need
Yeah,
more
yeah.
of them bitches. We got a bunch of bullshit out here. We need a damn Cracker
I
Barrel.
know. Like we don't need another Carl's Jr.
Yeah,
Like
what the fuck,
barrel somewhere.
man?
Um.
Um,
Uh.
now this is what that shit
What?
is like, man. Is that they are the right people are mad.
Yeah.
We've been mad this whole time. And in fact, we have been maligned, just maligned in public. Like, that was our whole image. It was like, man, these motherfuckers just always mad. I'm like, about the same thing. We've never not been mad about nothing other than our whole experience here. Our whole experience here. All the time. It's the same shit. It's never changed. Now people got to go back and retract and recant and redact everything they ever motherfucker said about Kaepernick and all that shit because he lost his whole career because he was fighting about shit that never went away. It's the same shit.
Yeah.
He was like, wow, y'all cost me my whole shit. Now everybody's like, Kaepernick, I am so sorry about, the things I've said, the articles I published, or the way that I behaved and treated you when you've done nothing but try to fight for us. Yeah, all that shit. Everybody's doing the whole boomerang shit. You know what I'm saying? Like they're like,
Yeah.
but that's what's up. Like, because it's some man shit. It's man shit for somebody to go, you know what? I was wrong. Because now people are simply thinking about what is right and what is wrong. And the right people, it ain't enough for us to be pissed and be outside. We've always been pissed and we've always been outside for everybody's causes, including our own. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Always. We're the battering rams, but everybody else is the beneficiary of what the fuck, like, if, what we were fighting for. It was like, y'all ain't gonna get it, but the people behind y'all, all right.
I was I was I was
But
talking with
now,
a
the white people are pissed the fuck off. People in, I don't know, Djibouti, they mad. Everybody's talking about Black Lives Matter because it's so shitty, it's so crazy, and it's been for so long, our whole experience, that finally the world, because we all had time today, remember that, we all had time today, that they were like, what the fuck?
yeah.
Wow. And
I,
and I'm getting a bunch of I never news, and I'll never be silent or quiet about what the fuck I see that's wrong about this place and about how y'all treat it again. So it's a nice time.
well, only time will tell, right? About that. Like I
Yeah.
hope people stick with that. But I was talking to somebody a couple of days ago, and I was like, I've been really fortunate um, to um, have a lot of diverse friends in my life, people that I've dated, um, and I have been the only white dude in an all black situation, all black neighborhood. Like whether I'm the only, like back when I was younger and could really hoop, like I've been the only white dude on the court, stuff like that, or I've been taken to a neighborhood by one of my black friends. We go play ball or whatever, and there was never a situation. First and foremost, I I can maybe think of like I count on one hand the times where I was given crap for being white in a place. Like I really can't think of many, but the couple that did happen, my friends were right there to stand up and come to my defense and say, no, 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 you're not going to treat him like this. He's cool. He's with us. That kind of thing. And there was no like selling me out as an individual. You know, and and like those things just always really stuck with me. And I'm like, my experience with black people my whole life, like you guys just are amazing to me. Like the shit y'all have to put up with and what you have to go through. And I said this the other day to somebody. I said, after watching the tape, it was the night that the tape came out. And I watched the whole tape. And I'm like horrified, right? I mean, it was like one of the most terrifying things I've ever seen in my life. But I wasn't shocked, obviously. But I watched it and then I came away from it and I was just like, I am white. But if I wasn't, what would I think about white people? Like,
Right.
it probably
Right.
wouldn't be good,
Right.
you know.
It's like,
And it,
man,
and
you
and
can't.
it's not and it's not like I look at that white dude like, come on, man, you're making it bad for the rest of it. But I came away from it and just thinking that the people in my life who have let me into their homes, who have fed me dinner, who have given me a ride, who have loaned me $5, whatever the case may be, or bought me dinner, or whatever the case may be, or just been my friend and gone with me to the movies or checked in with me. I've had black dudes who like live in other parts of the country finding out that stuff is crazy out here, checking in with me to make sure I'm okay.
That's the
They're
kind
like,
of
hey
fucking people
man,
we are, dog. Like,
exactly. But I know, but and
man.
you guys have been that way my whole life, and I'm not saying it's unique to me, but as as a as a white dude who has embraced black people my whole life, and just saw y'all as people. But it's not like I see y'all as just any people. Sometimes, like statistically, I probably have greater experiences with black people than white people. Just
Same.
statistically, because you guys are just solid. You guys are just I don't
Bro,
know. Like,
think about this. Like, our life is boot camp for making real motherfuckers, man. Like, that's why you be having real fucking experiences when you get around some real motherfucking people. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? Not those fucking
yeah,
fugazis. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
think about that. Like, think about what kind of shit that certain people be on, and then it'd be a whole lot of them people that be on the same shit, and then you like, I like the people that be on, a whole bunch of bullshit, and I be around them, and so I guess when I go around some people that be on some real shit, and some cool shit, some smooth shit, some chill shit, I have a smooth, cool, chill experience. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not rocket science. It's like we've had to find just a way to be. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was so
Mm-hmm,
tough to be, like, to just be, that we had to just find a proper way to be. Like, we developed this shit called cool. You
mm-hmm.
know it. You know it. Like,
Oh yeah,
we literally invented that shit. We invented cool. You know what I'm saying? Elvis knew that shit. He came across Chuck Berry,
yeah,
yanked
yeah.
his shit, snatched his shit, because we invented the shit called cool.
Mm,
That's what's so undeniable. That's why, like, no matter what we go through, some of us get through in some way. It's still with conditions. It's still with far more conditions than anyone else, right? Because
yeah.
you're still black in America. But some people get through because they are just unmistakably, undeniably just motherfucking cool. They
Some of
are what Steve Martin would say, undeniable. There's just nothing you can do about it. Like, they're about to ascend to something just great, just
some
far
of
greater than just regular
some of
motherfuckers.
some of the most amazing people you could ever meet in your life are just elderly black folks. Uh,
They've seen it all. They've done it all, man.
oh my God! Anytime I have an opportunity to you know engage in a conversation with an older black man who might be hanging out at a store or something like that, man, I take that opportunity because number one, their grace and their dignity just blows me away, and they're so freaking cool. Like it's unbelievable.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure, yeah, please.
What makes a diamond, Rich?
Uh, I mean, squeezing real hard on a lump of coal.
Mm-hmm. What is that? What's that squeeze?
I mean, I would just imagine that we're
Scientifically, like
we're gonna say it's the struggle, right? It's tension and
pressure,
all of that pressure, right?
heat,
Mm-hmm.
time. You combine that shit together and you get us. You get a
Yeah,
fucking diamond. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get something that's brilliant, that's beautiful, valuable. And we've yet to be able to pitch America on how beautiful and valuable and brilliant we are.
I would push back on that a little bit. I mean, I think there are many people that see it
Examples,
get
yeah,
it
for
and have
sure.
got it a lot of times.
I'm talking
So
about
I
America.
understand what you're saying.
I'm
I
talking about America. Like, you see what I'm
yeah
saying?
yeah I do.
Like, there are people, yeah, the rich Finley Shoemates of the world understand this. He's like, bro, there's no fucking way. Like, there's no way that I could pretend. Like, man, I would have to poke my fucking eyes out and shear my ears off. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
To not hear or see what is before me right now. And if someone is, you know, I'm not tooting my horn or anything like that. I'm just making I'm just finishing this fucking metaphor. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, there's no way, like, undeniable, undeniable. Like like it's true programming. Like the people that act like they hate us so much don't even like there's no way.
They don't even know
Like,
you. They don't know you. That's
yeah,
why they hate
you don't know. You know what I'm
you. Yeah.
saying? Like
Yeah.
we've always been COVID to such a large fucking degree, bro. So this social distancing shit, we're built for, made for this. There's always been that mild kind of neglect. You know what I'm saying? Like they're
So
allowed to
so
be
when
here
so
too.
when
So
so when white people were talking about staying 6 feet away, were you
like,
like,
all
why
right.
are they getting so close to us?
I'm like, the fuck they you
Like,
know you
y'all used
fuck
to
you
stand
orbiting
farther
around me
away.
for then. Make the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? You got all these parameters and shit set. You know what I'm saying?
Uh,
Just keep your
hey,
distance.
can
Man.
we
Keep your
can,
distance.
can we can we talk about I want to talk about one thing with you real quick because I wanted to get your opinion on it. And I have a traumatic brain injury, so I might forget. So I gotta speak up when it hits.
For sure.
What did you make of, obviously George Floyd is the dominant story, but what did you make of the Central Park story?
Oh
Little
man.
more,
I mean,
little
I've
more,
encountered
little
so many
more,
Karens.
little more comical, but yet beneath the surface, really incendiary. And
Oh no,
I wonder what you thought about that.
that was as good as murder. That was attempted murder
She
because
very
she
well could have.
knows.
She was
She
putting him in danger.
knows. Oh,
Yeah.
like she broke down the process by which she under like she broke down how well she understood our struggle, which was
Mm-hmm.
like that's mind fuckery. Like the
And
way she
how
did it,
powerful the dynamics were
that was
as a
demonic.
white
Like
woman making
he
that
ran into
call.
a devil.
Yep.
She was a demon person. She understood the power that she had and what little power he had and how little control over his life he had as a man. So she also emasculated that man.
And wasn't
She
he as
said,
cool as the other
little
side of the
weak me
pillow
can
through that
get
situation?
little weak ass, like I could kill you. And I ain't all I have to do is lift a
Lift
cell
phone
phone to
call.
my ear and go, I'm white, he's not. He's trying to kill me. I feel threatened.
Yeah. And
And
living in
she's
Los
hoping,
Angeles
she's counting on them doing what the fuck they tend to do from time to time. And that's delete you, kill
and
you.
living in Los Angeles, we both have seen a lot of bad acting. But
Yeah,
that was
bro.
some bad improv, man.
That shit was
But
crazy.
but wasn't he just cool as shit through that whole thing? Like he was
Oh,
just
the guy?
so calm. Yeah.
What else was he gonna be? What she wanted him
Well,
and expected him to be? He was about to be the opposite. You see what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like
he just
this
got he
motherfucker,
got cooler and cooler.
he went to Harvard. Like he's like, man, he didn't have to show that he was a G. He was just being a G. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So what you saw was a contrast in how people functioned. Like, yeah, this goofy ass bitch right here. And that's the shit that Karens be on. You know what I'm saying? Like, who do you think came up with that fucking name? It wasn't y'all. That damn sure ain't a designation that would come from like collegehumor.com. That's some shit that we be on. That's some black shit right there.
Yeah.
Because we immediately understood what the fuck they meant by a Karen. That's a
Hmm.
hating ass bitch. That's an old hating ass bitch. Like she's a citizen, she's a private citizen like herself, but she's following me around the grocery store. And she's just another patron. You know what I'm saying? Like just because she has some suspicions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like she's spying on the neighbors. So like it's like nah, man. Like or the people of color outside on the sidewalk. You know, after like 6 p.m. whatever. But she don't realize that they live in the neighborhood too. Like they have just a right to be there as everybody else. You know what I'm
And
saying?
and if
She
she
just
wasn't,
assumed the absolute worst about that shit. You know what I'm saying?
well,
Instead
but
of having the
she
best of intentions.
and she's probably one of the more dangerous ones, because if it
Yes,
wasn't a situation that she was involved in, she would probably be one of those people professing to be an ally.
he was about to be an Emmett motherfucking Till of 2020, but
Yeah.
it was a near miss. It was a near hit, I should say. That's a
Yeah.
George Carlin joke. It's classic.
I know, right? A near miss.
Yeah,
Like it's never
it's
made
a
sense.
near
But
hit.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
She
I
knew
mean
what the
that
fuck she
that
was doing.
situation could have been so different.
Oh yeah, that was
So different.
attempted
And
murder.
people laugh at her and the ridiculousness of it, and the fact that, she's saying he's threatening my dog, and the dog is on its hind legs, like choking out
Now check
because
this out. We
you know
people just laugh. You know, like that was memeable, like in this meme culture today. But
Yeah, but there's so much evil going on underneath that.
we oftentimes like we tend to laugh first, and it used to be to just laugh. Like we developed our humor around pain. Like it's to laugh to keep from crying. Like that's a phrase that we use. Is like to laugh to keep from crying because it's
Sure.
always some shit. It's always some fucking bullshit, you know. And constantly. It's just a daily use. It was just bullshit all the time. And so we've sought refuge in humor like no one else. You know what I'm saying? Like your Richard Pryors, like your Lenny Bruce's, like your thought leaders of yesteryear. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like comedy was their savior. You know,
Chappelle.
in a sense, yeah.
Now. Chris
Chappelle
Rock.
now, Chris Rock, yeah. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like Kevin Hart had a whole tour called "Laugh at My Pain." You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like that was the escape. That was how you got out of here.
Yeah.
Sports, rap. You know what I'm saying? Get the fuck out of here. You would just lose yourself in your art and let that carry you away to a far, far away and better place. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? And so it was funny and it was absurd and ridiculous. And I was like, but we're that desensitized. We're that
Right.
desensitized. It's like, of course, this goofy bitch is about to be on some shit and try. We've heard that story before, and a lot of us have had similar encounters. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah,
But
of
but
course that
but
bitch
what
did
I
that.
but what I hope that other white people took away from watching that situation is there's a deeper thing going on there that we've already touched on, but there's a deeper thing going on there that it's it's very easy to look at somebody like that and then just go, oh well, she's crazy. I mean, she's you know she's she's a jerk. She's crazy. All that. But at the same time, I think it behooves people to look at what did she intrinsically go to from a psyche standpoint that she knew was useful and powerful and threatening.
She was very
And
pragmatic. Yeah, she
and
was
and
like, I
she
know
and
exactly
she's
how to
growing
get
up
this
and
guy.
she's living in this world. She
Yeah.
didn't come up with that on her own.
No, she
Like,
knows exactly how to get somebody out of here that looks like the opposite of her. She knows exactly how to get that brother out of there. You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? And I'm just happy he gave, like, for maybe the first time, or just actually one of many times, but the way that he shot it, it was so cinematic. It was very
Sure.
cinematic. It was like
Yeah, he did
Blair
a really good
Witchy,
job.
but it was very
Yeah.
cinematic. And so people saw it from his actual vantage point. They saw it through the eyes. You guys got to walk in his shoes. I got to walk in his shoes.
And
From the
and
way
her
he shot
coming
it,
up to him, her rushing up to him, threatening.
yeah, like so what you see when you see those kinds of videos, like that kind of POV is like they saw it through the eyes of a black man. They couldn't process what he was processing, but
Yeah.
he had hoped that they got some modicum of an understanding of what the fuck we see on the regular all the
Yeah, that's a
time.
good point. Because watching it, you're just like, this looks insane.
Yeah, yeah.
And it
Like
is,
that's what the fuck it looks like to us.
I'm sure.
Like what the fuck? Exactly like the same way that you would be looking at the screen like, what is this bitch talk? What this that's crazy. The
Yeah.
same shit that he, is going through his head, but he's like
And
accustomed to this, and so he's just like,
yeah. And us as the viewer, we're like,
go on this.
I'm not doing anything. And
Yeah,
she's
I'm not doing anything at all.
making this call.
He
Yeah.
sounded jaded by the whole like another Karen. It was that kind of energy.
He
Another
totally
fucking
sounded like
Karen. Yes, he
he
knew exactly what to do. He's like,
yeah.
yeah, I look
Hang
like
on, let me get my phone.
I'm watching birds and shit in Central Park. I know like a weirdo, and this bitch about to walk up on me and run up on me. It doesn't matter what her face looks like. It's the same bitch. Different face, different body type, same bitch. Karen.
And
He
same
knew it.
same MO.
Yeah, same shit. That's
Yeah.
like that's what I mean. Same bitch, Karen.
Yeah.
It like
Um,
different hair color, don't matter. Different height, don't matter. It's Karen.
and by the way, like I read an article about him just a couple of days after this, where he was graciously saying stuff like, "I don't think she needed to lose her life over this in terms of like her job and stuff like that." I mean, really nice of him to say, but
That's the
most of the
kind of
people
shit
that
that
most of the people that I know, and most of the white people that I know,
for
were
sure.
looking at it like, "Good, she should have lost her job." But again, and I know where you're going. You're gonna say that's the kind of people that you guys are,
That's the kind of fucking
forgiving,
shit. We've
totally.
been shat on so much, dog. Like we just developed a different way. Like it's just man, there's got to be some other kind of better way, and we can't be like them, and we got to be better. All of the we got to be better than the motherfuckers that give us so much shit. Like all of that rears itself in just how we raise our kids and how our village functions as an educational center when it does. Um, for the next generation is like, man, y'all got to be better. One, let me educate you about the world that you're about to, walk into, so you don't get, kabonked on the way in and not know what the fuck's going on. And wow, I was betrayed. I thought that that was my friend, and they didn't have my best interests at heart. Let me show you who you're dealing with. As soon as we're born, our parents set us down, and they're like, let me show you what you're dealing with. Ain't even sat the Gerbers on the table yet. Let me show you who you're dealing with. And we go through just a lifelong education on how to stay alive here and how to flourish, how to do well, and how to not create a situation that's beyond our control, because that can easily spin out of control because we don't have a lot of control here. Right. And so we have this lifelong education. Like we can't just go out like, mom, dad, so-and-so's having a party. Can I go? Who gonna be there? Where is it? What neighborhood is it? What part of town is it? Because my parents' jobs, and I've heard this time and time again when we had nuclear fallouts, it was, I'm not here to be your friend. Vontae, I'm not here to be your friend. I am put on this earth to keep you alive. I am here to raise you up to be the best man that you can possibly be. And to do that, it's going to like it. It's going to understand. But when you get, if you live long enough to get to my age, all things go well, son, someday you'll understand. You'll see why I can't just let you go and do what you want to do, when you want to do, how you want to do it, where you want to do it, who you want to do it with. I can't just do that. It was an interrogation, just so I wouldn't ask. I was a homebody. Thank goodness I was an intro, like a fucking introvert. I'd rather be at home, but I think some of that was conditioning.
Watching your anime and not telling anybody.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like some of that had to be conditioning too. So I was just it's safe. It's safer.
I was having a conversation with a white director, and he was talking about a film that he was making, and we were talking about the difference in the white and black experience of getting pulled over. Okay, and I think he was talking about a black actor that he had been working with who was going to work with him on this film. And the black actor was explaining to him, when an officer pulls me over, I'm both hands on the wheel where they can see it, et cetera, et cetera. And this white director was talking about, well, it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. Like you shouldn't have to do that. And I said to him, I'm like, it doesn't matter, dude. He's trying to live. Like he's trying to make sure he gets through that experience in one piece and gets home. And he's like, yeah, but it should. I'm like, that is not how responsible black parents raise their kids. They raise them so they can survive. And you need to get that. Like, I don't want any of my black friends getting killed over the fact that they should be able to question a cop just like I could. Why did you pull me over? Like, I don't want to hear, Travanti had something terrible happen because he tried to have the same rich experience getting pulled over. Like you're not trying to do that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think it's important because I think a lot of white people, they want to say this, oh, I don't see color, et cetera, et cetera. And I get what they mean when they say that, but you need to see color.
You better.
Color, so you can try to respect color and understand color. And you may not be able to walk, like I told you about getting pulled over a couple of times and dealing with a shitty cop. That doesn't mean that I understand what it's like. But to try to extrapolate that times a million or more, to try to just have a tiny thread of empathy to then blow up and find some way to, I can't even imagine what that's like. But let me step into that world. And maybe actors are really good at this because we get a role, and we break it down. We're like, okay, who am I in there? Oh, okay. I'm a young black man. What is my day like? What are my interactions like? And so on and so forth. And so maybe like the creative acting artistic mind helps us step into that a little more. But I think when white folks are just like, I don't see color and et cetera, I I think they're missing the boat because you should see it.
Yeah, I've been telling white folks that my whole fucking life when they say that bogus bullshit because they say it to me thinking that they are avant-garde. Like, woo, that's a dynamic way of thinking.
They're on a higher
I don't
level.
see color.
Yeah,
I interpret that as you're fucking blind though. Okay, you don't see color. I see so many.
well, they don't want to be
And I
what
damn
that
sure
really.
see you. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
what that translates to is I don't want to be blamed for stuff that
Yeah,
I
I'm
caused.
lazy. I
Yeah,
plead the fifth. Let me just absolve myself of any and all guilt associated with racism.
I'll
You're,
take all the perks of it.
while
I don't want
condoning
to be held.
racism at the same
Yeah,
fucking time, it's like, oh, okay, so
yeah,
I guess we're by ourselves in this whole fucking thing. Is that what you're saying? That's what you're saying. That's really
yeah,
what you're saying. If you're like, I don't see race, well, you better because uh if little Timmy ends up slipping up and calling someone of a certain persuasion a certain thing and he gets in trouble for that shit, what the fuck you gonna say?
yeah,
Hmm? Because he heard a friend say it who didn't have parents that didn't see color. They damn sure saw color. In fact, little Timmy called him colored. He's heard it somewhere before. It didn't
mm,
have to be your household. So what are you gonna do? I think you should educate your kid. That way there's not a misunderstanding. I
yeah,
think you should educate your kid because he's going to maybe have some black friends. And if he's going to keep those black friends, he's going to have to be able to uh, have a proper amount of empathy, not sympathy, empathy, and understanding.
yeah,
Give him a more critical eye so he can break some of these situations down and maybe use his privilege to maybe knock down some obstacles and doors that brother can't.
yeah,
Not just alone, not him being who he is. He can't just be. You know what I'm saying? And as a result, use your fucking privilege. Sesame, open sesame this fucking door that old buddy way back when locked for me, just for me being me. You know what I'm saying? Use your privilege. You know what I'm saying? Like when we get pulled over, hey bro, you slide to the driver's seat and you talk your shit and just get us home. I don't know. Use your privilege, because y'all can clearly talk all kind of shit. And we're like, bro, I can't breathe wrong, blink wrong. You know what I'm saying? My eyes getting dry. I'm like, I don't want to imply that I'm even here right now. So I'm just 10 and 2. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Officer, I'm now taking my right hand, extending it toward the. This is what the fuck we gotta do, bro.
I know you
Easy,
do.
whack,
I know.
lame as fuck. But we gotta move like you know.
Do you almost see cops as a different race?
Hmm?
Do you almost look at the cops as their own separate race? Like like
Oh,
like they're
just
blue people.
the upper echelon of whites.
No. Like cops, like the culture of being a cop.
Oh,
The
cops. My bad.
cop.
Yeah, I misheard you. Nah, just cops.
Oh, okay.
Just just some bitch ass dudes that did some bitch ass shit.
Because there are times that I look at cops and I think I, I
Oh no,
definitely
they're very white to us. They're very white
even
for
even the black
sure.
cops, even the black cops.
Oh, just cops, man.
Okay, okay.
You
Because I
know,
because I
it
look
ain't-
at I
it,
look
it
at
ain't a
cops.
whole lot of black cops just slaying people either. You know what I'm saying? But in fact, my dad's cousin, I have a cousin, Maynard Waller, and rest in power. He was killed in the line of duty. So we've had law enforcement in our family, but
Okay,
bitch ass cops are bitch ass cops. It's not every last one of them. I'm friends with one. He's a great dude. We've had certain conversations that went a certain kind of direction because he has a certain kind of leaning. Obviously, it's also a culture within being a cop itself, just within that kind of world, what I'm saying? He's going to
sure.
be for guns or this or that, and which I get. Like that's his experience. He was a a special ops like sharpshooter. He's seen some other kind of shit, so he's gonna have a different kind of opinion about certain things. I understand that.
Right.
I can have friends who have that, who have those things. Like I value having not the same as that person 7 times over, and I have 7 friends. It's like no, I want a nice array of different kinds of human beings. I just want, like, quite simply, the dopest human beings in my life, no matter where they've come from, what they look like. But they tend to be on kind of the same shit, but they're not the same kind of person for sure, like their interests or anything like that. I
Yeah.
just have some cool ass fucking people in my life, you included, and I'm thankful for y'all. But
Oh.
as far as that shit, man, nah, just wrong is wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, the whole reason that I bring that up is I just look at the power position that they're in, and they can be so autonomous with if they pull out that I fear for my life bullshit, they're good.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
you
that's
know,
back to the Karen shit, right?
and I
Like
think that's
so,
so corrupting. Like
yeah,
I think
like
that just empowers them so much.
you've even seen that shit in movies, like L.A. Confidential or whatever. Like you see the cats go in. All right, so when we rush in, I'm gonna shoot you in the chest, okay? And you go and then you fall off over the couch, okay? And then I'm gonna fire there and then there. And so when they ask you, you know, ASAC Trader, and then they have the alibi and everything set up so they can do the shit, so they can just
Well,
like they have
it's
a story, a whole narrative already of how it's gonna go down. This is what we're gonna do. Stick to the
yeah,
fucking script. Stick to the script. And homeboy ain't got shit to say in defense. He's fucking dead.
right.
You
Well,
know what I'm saying?
Minneapolis tried this. The night that this happened, there was the quote that they read where they said, "Oh, the officers noticed he was in medical distress and he died at the hospital sometime later." No, he defecated on himself right there on the street. Like he relieved his bowels on the street. Like and them coming out saying, "Oh, they noticed he was in medical distress." Like they tried to. If it weren't for that camera footage, it would have been the same old shit.
It would have been the same old shit. Yeah. Because it's like a whole lot of the irony with, and white people say this all the time, like I feared for my life. I feared for my life.
You sound like that woman just
You
clutching her pearls.
you don't think that the man you
Oh my God.
murdered feared for his life? In fact, if I
Look
recall
dead
from
over
watching
and
the
over.
video, he begged for his life over
Yeah.
and over and over again.
Call for his mother.
Yeah.
Like that shit
Who
that's
was
happening when your
already
brain.
dead
Yeah, that's when your
as
brain is
well.
shutting down. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, no white people what's funny about it, about white people claiming to fear for their lives in certain situations, is that's how scarcely it happens. What they're talking about is how sporadic they have to fear for their lives. That's a
Like
pretty
maybe it's
nice
happened.
life. That's a
Like
pretty
maybe
nice
it's happened
experience.
once or twice in their life.
Yeah, like,
And
oh my gosh,
brothers are just like this.
we went
Brothers
whitewater
are just like this,
rafting.
no shaking at
We
all.
went whitewater rafting, and we were, oh my gosh, we went to level 3. We were only like equipped for level 1, and
I
there was
saw
this rapid. It was
a
huge,
snake.
and
I saw a snake. I
I
couldn't believe
feared
it.
for my life. I feared for my life. Whenever I see, and I'm not lying, I even talk about this with homies of mine. I'm like, bro, like
Mm.
I don't know if it's in our DNA at this point, probably is, but I don't even like red and blue lights together.
I hear you. I
See,
hear you.
so what I mean by that is I can drive by a joint and the reflection, like at night and when it rains, everything's super reflecty, right? Everything's we're gonna go reflecty right now. Fuck it. And so everything is a reflective surface, right? And so you see light shining off of things, bouncing off of mirrors and shit. Well, if it hits my rear view, that
Mm-hmm.
open sign that's still on, open, open, open.
Like
At
for a
like a
Domino's pizzas,
at
it's like
yeah,
red, white, and blue.
at an establishment, just an open sign that's luminous enough and it bounce off of my shit. I'm
Uh-huh.
thinking it's a whoop whoop, and I'm like, fuck, my heart is up here in my neck now, and I'm like,
Wow.
and then I'm looking for shit to be wrong, and I'm like, I ain't do shit wrong, but just be driving and be black at the same time. And I'm looking around and shit like, everything's fine, but ain't everything okay? Because he about to, oh shit, ain't no cops behind. Oh shit, and then I drive by, and it's like a laundromat with just an open sign, just a bright ass open sign, or I'm driving by Chios and Encino. That's a big ass red and blue sign. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if that just causes my heart to jump, I can't control that. It's just fight or flight. It's just like, whoo, oh, okay, fuck.
Have you ever had a situation where for your own protection you whipped out your cell phone, like turned it on or whatever, or like you know how
I should have.
some
I
guys
should have.
some guys they get pulled over and they just put the phone right there at the center and
I wasn't thinking quick enough, man. I was just like trying. See, I go to trying to not move as much as possible because I know
okay.
that he's coming around like this. Just his hand is on his hip, like
Oh yeah.
this and shit. And I'm not trying to fucking budge. And I'm like, man, I want to get my shit and set it up, but that's too much fucking movement. You know, he's going for the glove box, guy, and then that's it.
Right.
There is no my side to the story. That's the
Yeah,
thing
too
about these
bad.
situations.
Yeah,
There is
take
no my
off.
side to the story. I just have to get home. My only goal after a certain time is just to get home. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, especially, um, I worked in nightlife. You know what I'm saying? I was a bouncer and shit, and I'm out there with everybody, just the craziest of the crazy, right? Nothing really good happens after 2 a.m. Let's be honest, unless you got something squared away. You know what I'm saying? Then
Well,
great things do happen after 2 a.m. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But
I
aside from
mean,
that, I'm just trying to get
I'm sure a
home.
young lady would find you a nice option at like 2 in the morning.
I'm trying to dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge all coppers because everyone at that time is going home from the clubs, home from the bars, nightlife
Mm-hmm.
establishments, somebody's crib, party, whatever's going to be. They're trying to go home, and then the cops are looking for them, and I ain't trying to get caught in the middle of that shit. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
You're just
I don't,
trying to live so you can wake up
yeah,
the next day and do it all over
and
again.
do it again. And I don't want to deal with cops at all. Like I don't even want to, because I don't know what the percentage points are, but our probability of survival just drops when we get stopped, sir. Have you seen these videos of them
Yeah.
tuning motherfuckers up for no reason, like killing them right in front of their wife, their kids? You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
I've
the
seen that
Castile
shit.
video is
Yeah.
unbelievable.
And so I don't want to have to, and I tell people this all the fucking time. I'm like, I don't want to have to answer nobody's questions at all. So when people ask me to do shit, and I'm like, no, I'm not trying to have. I don't want to have to answer nobody's questions, and it's usually cats who ain't like me who are trying to get me to do all this goofy, crazy shit. I'm like, yeah, I'm not trying to answer nobody's questions.
Like what? What are you referring to? I don't understand.
It's just whatever it might be. Like, hey man, meet me at the and it's super late or something like that, or it's like, hey, let's go to this after hours thing,
Oh,
and
I
I'm
got
like,
it.
I'm not trying to answer nobody's questions.
Got it.
I don't want nobody to be curious enough to just want to see what's inside of the box that I'm driving.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to. And I ain't gotta be riding dirty at all, kid. I ain't gotta be riding dirty. They can
Oh, you
switch some
don't have to
shit
be.
up. They can sprinkle some crack on me. Sprinkle some crack on me.
Yeah,
Just like
totally.
Chappelle said.
And then what are you gonna say? Oh, that wasn't mine, because that's what
Bro, it's
even
my
somebody
word
who.
against their word. And I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, if I'm still around and able to just, you know, give them my side of the story. I ain't got
if
time for
you
this shit. I
if
have
you
no
don't
time.
resist arrest and all
Yeah,
that.
I have no time for that shit. None of it.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I just avoid. Um, that's how I process information. That's how I was raised to process information. Like I have to use my, I know common sense isn't so common, but I gotta use my fucking noodle.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, like it's just after any phone call, my dad says, "Be smart, stay safe." Like especially now, he's like, be smart, stay safe, be smart."
Mm-hmm.
Tell me to be smart. Ain't nobody else's dad's telling them to be smart.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you're probably going to be okay, Rich. Odds are you're going to be fine. Generally speaking, I know you have
Yeah.
gone through
Yeah.
trials
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Like, but I'm talking about white guy.
No, I
Yeah,
get. Trust me, I get it. I wear
yeah.
that.
Like
Sure.
you've been through some shit, but I'm just saying in general. I'm like, you're probably gonna be okay. You're probably gonna be just fine, and you're probably gonna have to just be mediocre and do and being mediocre, you can do just great things, fucking fantastic things. We got to be fucking phenomenal, fantastic, creme de la creme, the cream of the crop. We got to be the best. We have to be the best. We got to be so like so good.
Well, luckily for you, that doesn't come too hard.
Man,
I want to ask you a quick question before I forget. Mm-hmm. And my dogs are getting more riled up. You two need to calm down. So we talked about what you've seen the last week and a half that white folks have done right. Let's talk a little bit about like some of the things that you have seen that have been, whether they've just been flat out wrong or just misguided. Like there was a lot of attention given to Drew Brees today, which I caught up on just a little bit before we started taping this. But what do you make of like some of the white folks that, you know, they hear Black Lives Matter and then they want to respond with all lives matter?
Fuck them.
Stuff like that. Do you take that as an inherently racist statement on that person's part? Because see, I look at it like the whole point of Black Lives Matter from a white guy perspective, a well-intentioned white guy perspective, is we are ahead in the race. We need to stop and tie our shoe and let y'all catch up to us so we can march together. It's not about saying all lives matter when we're trying to focus on Black Lives Matter, because the Black lives are the ones that we need to catch up to the all, right? So I'm not somebody who, you know, I want to thump my chest and say all lives matter, because even though intrinsically that's kind of the point that Black Lives Matter is making in my take, that, hey, all lives matter, including ours. And by ours, I'm saying Black people. Like, and ours hasn't mattered for a long time. And we're trying to reach that summit. So, but I also look at the white people who say that and say all lives matter. And I think you have to go like case by case basis. I don't think every white person that is saying all lives matter, I don't think that they realize the harm that can do. But then I think there are some white people that are absolutely doing it in a way to take attention for Black Lives Matter. But what is your take on that? Like, there are some people who would just say, well, you even said it here early, you know, if people are saying all lives matter, fuck them. So, like, do you look at that like everybody who says all lives matter actually cognitively realize what they're doing and what they're saying?
Remember that PhD in white people I was telling you about?
Yeah, you did say that.
Okay,
yeah.
So we're well aware that, especially me, that they've created a coded language, new ways to call people niggas without calling them one. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, a hardworking, super mediocre college basketball player can just hustle and work hard, but have really no real super
I like how you called him mediocre,
athletic gifts. But this guy is he's a workhorse. He just works hard, and he's
gritty.
He's passionate. He's gritty, and he's got so much heart. So much heart, Rich. And what they're saying is he's fucking garbage compared to these other cats, but he gets a little bit of playing time because he does bust his ass. And I mean, we respect meritocracy, you know what I'm saying? And then we get his bitch ass back on the side, you know, here, and then we get the, you know, our starting five back in there in the range. And we, because we're trying to win. But when you call some guy who responds aggressively to a situation in like a basketball game, he's like, yeah, and then he does a little fucking fist pump or something like that, and he's white, he's just passionate. He's just a hard worker, you know what I'm saying? And his name is Mason. His name is Mason or something. And then like the other guy who responds in a similar fashion, and I see this time and time
like
again.
Draymond. Like Draymond's probably a great example.
Whatever it's going to be, right? Not so much in the NBA, but definitely in college basketball. Smaller market shit. that guy's a thug somehow. So somehow he's a thug, something, just something with a horrible connotation, like a thug or a hoodlum or
You know
this
what's
that.
amazing about the word thug? I was thinking about the word thug today. When I was growing up, and up until I was like maybe in my 20s, whenever I heard the word thug, I pictured some Sons of Anarchy shit.
Me
Like
too,
the word thug to me is like a motorcycle, like a white, mullet motorcycle gang kind
bruh.
of guy. Like that did the word get hijacked? I mean, because I
A lot of
understand
words
when
get
it's used as
hijacked.
when I obviously it's used as coded language now, but I'm just like, when did that happen?
Look,
Because thug
call
to me was always like a white trash person.
they're always hijacking shit, bro. I mean, you know this. So like black people tend to take on words that they've been called for forever too. You know what I'm saying?
To
Like
take ownership of it.
it's a part of them taking like just all right, I'm gonna just take what used to hurt me and I'm gonna just turn it into something that makes me feel more powerful and emboldened. And so you can't hurt me with it because now it's mine, bitch. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like call me a thug so much, refer to me as a thug so much. Now I got a tattoo across my stomach called Thug Life. And so yeah, now you got black people calling themselves thugs and referring to this life as a thug life and this and that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same thing as the N word. It's a similar kind of situation. Um, but this coded language that I'm talking about,
With the All Lives Matter stuff,
yeah,
going back to that.
they think that they're slick. They think that they have created a way of speaking to their people, their tribe, and not alerting or rising the defenses of the people also in the mainstream or in the public sphere. So that thug thing versus the passionate hard worker mediocre guy thing. And then you also have um, what was I talking about? Oh. What was your question again? And then it'll jog my memory.
We were,
Oh, all lives
I,
matter. All lives matter. Okay.
yeah, because
Okay.
I was coming from the standpoint of I don't think everyone who says that as a response actually knows what they're doing. I do
I
think
know.
there are incendiary people who are doing it, but maybe
Okay.
that's my whiteness thinking that,
All
and
right.
I'm ready to be wrong.
So this has been going on for so long, and we've dealt with this coded language, this double speak for so long that they don't think that we're privy to. That I immediately just transcribe what the fuck people are really saying. I have that
It's a
ability in general,
conversion.
just in
It's a
general. I'm like,
conversion
all right,
chart,
what he
right?
really motherfucking said. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, yeah,
when they say all lives matter, they're saying that your life don't like yours does not. It doesn't matter. That looks worse. The optics are way worse when you just say, no, it don't. We don't care. Shut the fuck up.
right.
Right? Because it's used because there's nowhere to go after that. There is no conversation.
Yeah,
Black Lives Matter. We want you to focus on why we're upset. And why we're upset is about something egregious and appalling. You should care. What they're saying is all lives matter. There is no conversation after that. What they're saying is, I don't fucking care. It doesn't matter. All lives matter.
yeah,
Because if all lives matter, then who am I to complain about mine? When everyone else has a seat at the table of their own affairs, like they could, you know, you know, white women especially. I mean, the complaints. You know what I'm saying? Like they can definitely broach an issue and that shit get taken care of lickety split pretty snappy. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
let someone of
This has been the
color,
year of the white woman in terms of it illuminating
they do
how
pretty well.
frequently they do this stuff.
They do pretty well. You know what I'm saying? Like women's suffrage definitely was a beneficiary of, the civil rights movements as well under that umbrella. You know what I'm saying? And so, but there was a womanist movement as well for obvious reasons. It was because that was another institution that didn't include like women of color. Like it didn't matter. Yeah, imagine, you know, Michelle Williams and like Madam C.J. Walker, like they were all like, they were womanists. Alice Walker, I'm sorry. Um, and I think Michelle Thomas, I can't recall her name, but there was a separate movement even there because they saw through what that really was. It was still, it's like, no, it's pretty much about us. This is our book club. And it's yet again another club that you're not um, welcome in, that that you haven't been invited to. So all lives matter. They're saying that your life doesn't matter. Blue lives matter. It's assumed already that all lives matter. What we're saying is that also our lives matter.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They're not saying the same thing, and they know that shit. Because the only thing that's required when a motherfucker says from a disenfranchised group, when they say Black Lives Matter, for sure, I agree. It does. I concur. I support you. I am with you. The shit that you see today, like some of the shit that you like see today, is what we've been trying to get motherfuckers to understand. It's like, no, 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 no. We're living the lives, the assimilated lives of the people whose lives matter. Like, we know your lives matter. That's why we're so fucking mad, is because it's only your lives that seem to matter.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I would love to, and I said this in the other podcast, I would love to have no complaints, no worries, no concerns. I would love to just go shopping and not have to,
not hear that walkie-talkie.
just not have to be aware, like not have to. I'm just so aware, because I have to be fully aware of my environment, because it can turn against me at any moment. You know what I'm saying? I got to really focus at a bonfire, back in Kentucky, like back home. And I didn't have any negative experiences, but that shit could have went super south, bro. So far off of the back roads, surround, just
Oh my God, yeah.
in the middle of a farm, and it's nothing but, and they were some good people. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like white people surrounded by them. You're the only brother for miles. Like, I was the only Black person wherever I was forever. Like, for so often, when I saw another Black person, hey Black man, you good? Yeah, I'm good. Keep at it. Back at you. Keep pushing. Like, wow, I saw a brother today. That's what's
Have
up.
you
You
ever
didn't see
seen the
no brothers
movie?
until you went home, and then you saw your actual brother, or your mom and your dad. Like, this is what the fuck it
Have
was.
Have you ever seen the
Um,
movie? It's a spoof movie, but it's called Not Another Teen Movie,
yeah, yeah.
and it's where there's a character in there that literally he calls himself the token black guy. He's like, I'm the token black guy,
He got mad as fuck when
and
there was another brother in there at the
exactly,
same party. Like,
yeah, and they're like,
these are my
oh,
white people. What are you? These are
like
mine. These
what
white
are you
people.
doing here? And then the other black guy's like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Yeah, go on and go find your or like the Key and Peele sketch of the acapella sketch. Oh
That's
my
what that
God.
joke was about, man. Like, that's
Oh, it's
what
so
that was
hilarious.
like. That's the kind of place that came from. Was uh, access was so scarce. Access can be so scarce that they made light of something that's a real kind of thing. Like, some hating ass dudes might try to think that this is that. Like, if you're at an SAE party, you know what I'm saying, or like a, like a teak party. You know what I'm talking about? The frat parties and shit. And you see one token dude there. He's probably a member of something like that, and then he's looking at you in like a certain kind of way. He's like, I don't know what that is, but I know that he's trying to encroach upon my whites. Like, that's the kind of,
Like
like that.
these are
That's a
my
hidden
seven white boys.
that's a hidden animus, man. Like, enemies on all
Uh,
fronts. It's crazy, bro. But that's the
crazy.
kind of thing. So that's the all lives matter thing. It's like, I know what you're saying. Like, what you're saying is, shut the fuck up, my guy. Just
I
shut
think
the
I
fuck
think
up.
I think what happens with a lot of that stuff is maybe on a subconscious level, and maybe sometimes my own empathy gets me in trouble because I'm trying to understand where people are coming from, and my default is most people are good, you know. So I'm trying to like understand all people, including white people who want to say all lives matter, right?
That's yeah, it's just that's active reactionary suppression. They don't want to have a conversation at all. Like, they
See,
don't want
and
to
that's what
have
I was going to
a
say.
conversation. They have this guilt already that they walk with in general, I'm sure. And so
That's right,
they don't want to be reminded of the work that has to be done, because people are lazy in general,
right. And
especially
if
when you
they
get home from
truly
a long day
acknowledge
of
it,
work. And like,
yeah,
I don't want to be reminded of more work. I just worked all day, and I don't want to have to do work on me, for
right,
sure, because
right.
that means I got to do work on me if I'm going to do work on the community. I got to do work on me, because I know I'm not perfect, and damn sure my community ain't perfect, and it's full of imperfect people doing imperfect things. So I don't want to have to do more work. Like it's quite simple. It's like all lives matter. But that's the experience. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
I
I
think
know
you're
what you're
totally
saying,
right.
bitch. You know what I'm saying? It's like, bitch, I know what you're saying. All lives matter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it
What you're saying is white lives matter because it's assumed like all is white.
well, because the story that they tell themselves is, I'm a good person. I'm not engaging in racism. I'm not calling people, racist names. I don't judge people racially. So therefore, I live in a world that is not racist, quote unquote.
I don't see
And to
color.
say and to say
Eh,
Black Lives Matter means that I now have to acknowledge the fact that I live in a different reality than I'm willing to acknowledge, and I have to do something about it. Whereas if I just
Yeah.
live in this Pollyanna all lives matter world, I don't have to do anything different.
Yeah, like that's their matrix. You know, it's like they're like, I really don't want to unplug. I just really don't. I'm in Leave It to Beaverland. I'm in Pleasantville. I'm in whatever that neighborhood was called in Weeds. That's where I fucking reside. That's where I'd rather be. I don't want to be reminded of anybody's struggle because I'm struggling myself with some things that I probably shouldn't consider a struggle because they're certainly not struggles compared to people who do actually struggle. But
And you know what else is amazing about Black people? Never in my life has a Black person not made room for my struggle. Like if I was going through tough time, or like when I had my car accident, or when I was dealing with my disabilities or anything like that, I I don't know if some white people are afraid that if they acknowledge Black people's struggle, that they're just going to, they're going to one up them and be like, well, you know, you didn't have to go through slavery, or you didn't have to go through that, so on and so forth. But I have never had a Black person not make room for my personal struggle. Like, like,
again, Rich, that's the
because y'all
kind
are
of
cool.
motherfuckers you dealing with,
I
man.
know.
We've been
I
cool,
know.
bro. I'm like, y'all should get y'all some brothers, like some Black friends. Like, we will support the fuck out of you.
I
We just
totally
asking for
endorse
y'all to
it.
support the fuck out of us. We just all trying to chill. Y'all won't let us. We're just trying to chill.
Well, I'll let you, but I unfortunately, I don't speak for very many white people.
Yeah. I wish you spoke for
Uh,
more shit. You know what
I
I'm
try.
saying?
I
Hey,
try.
you know,
You know one thing that's really interesting. So I grew up in West Virginia, where I mean there was definitely racism in West Virginia. Now,
I've driven
luckily,
through it plenty of time, them
no,
sandstone mountains.
it just start driving faster. But um,
We try to
but
speed through West Virginia. Yes, indeed.
I don't blame you. I mean I think West Virginia is like 97% white or something crazy like that, or at least it
Iowa
was when I
got
was
y'all
growing up.
beat.
Well, when I was growing up there, at least it was that. But we had our pockets, right? Like we had our Black neighborhood pockets where like
Where
you know, some of my
wherever
friends
Randy
lived.
Moss is from.
Wherever Randy Moss was from.
Wherever
I
Randy
remember
Moss
when
is
I
from.
I remember when I was growing up, we lived in an um, upper upper middle class, all white neighborhood. There was one Black family in the neighborhood, and they were exactly what you described before, like ridiculously hardworking people. um, I don't want to say overachieve because that sounds like I'm diminishing the potential of the individual, but in terms of societal expectations, extremely overachieve for them to be in that neighborhood. But one thing that I have noticed in like the last 20 years, 25 years, something like that, is I'm never around white people that are like if it's only white people around. Okay. And I live in Glendale, so I'm practically like the only white dude here.
I was about to say,
Seriously.
that's
Like
an
like
interesting
like
demographic, bro.
dude, during protests in Glendale, like I got my little mask and I got these eyebrows. I'm totally safe, man. Like nobody is even gonna mistake me for a white dude.
Uh,
But um but I don't hear racism has gone real undercover if it's gone undercover. Like I, I don't I can't remember the last time, whether it's at a party or whether it's like you're playing poker with a bunch of guys and somebody brings a friend that you don't really know about who is this dude, that kind of thing. Um, but I can't remember the last time I was ever around somebody who like used a racist term or the M word or just something ugly or derogatory to where the cool ones among us would be like, hey, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, why are you acting like that? Like, I don't even I don't even see that, and so I I equate that to two reasons. Number one, I do a pretty good job of picking who I'm gonna spend my time with. But then two, people are just more low key about it with dog whistles and coded language, like you were saying, and things like that. So I don't I don't see it much myself, but I'm always on the alert to try to like make sure that people aren't saying stuff that they shouldn't be saying. And if I ever hear anything that is counterculture to what I believe, I mean, I'll speak up. I'll be like, well, you got to look at it from their point of view. Like, I wouldn't be crazy about white people right now, like just those kind of things. Like, I try to add to conversations when I see opportunities to do it. But like, white boys aren't out here just flinging, racist epithets and stuff like that. But maybe that's because they're getting more sophisticated with it or whatever. I don't know.
I
But
wouldn't call them sophisticated people
well, you're right about
whatsoever.
that. You're right. You're right.
But
I just meant their methodology is a little
I
more
will
slick.
I will say it's like they've developed the kind of like finesse, but for me it's like plain as day type shit,
Oh, I
man.
mean, you
Like,
can still see them.
it's subtle. You ain't gotta stick your head out the window and sound like Clayton Bigsby for me to see you. Like for me to fucking see you. I
Good reference.
I I see you. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
it's like little shit. Like some people are just patriots. Just patriotic people. And when you see it's little things like and this isn't a blanket kind of statement. I don't intend for it to be that kind of way. But for
Go for it.
instance, you see someone who basically just got American flag jeans on, American flag, the trucks in the sky, which is cool. I like BFTs, big fucking trucks. That's where I come from. But you know what I'm saying? Just everything's got a flag on it and shit. And I'm like, yeah, this is my country too. But I think you're trying to imply something different about,
That's
you
kind
know
of
what I'm
crazy
saying?
though, right? How the flag has
It's taken on this
strangely
bizarre
become a
meaning.
symbol.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's
it's
so
taken on a
sad.
different kind of symbol. And I'm very aware of what they intend for it to mean when they sent, like, even to a point to where I was working at the bar I worked at. uh I would have to take the flag down every night or put the flag up. Somebody walks up to
Oh, okay.
me unsolicited and is like, what are you doing with that flag? And I look down at him like, it's not a need. It's not a need to concern yourself with what I'm doing with the flag. Don't worry about it. You just go on about your business.
You're like, I'm
Let's
gonna
not
hang
have
it
a
upside. I'm gonna
conversation.
hang it upside down.
It's 1:42 a.m. Let's not have a conversation about flags. I'm not about to have a
Yeah,
conversation with you about anybody's flag,
yeah,
the rolling technique of the flag, or none of that. Kick rocks with flip flops
yeah,
on. But
yeah.
it's
Or even look at the color
certain
red. Like,
people.
I love the color red. Can hardly wear the color red anymore.
Well,
Can't
things
wear a red hat.
it's just semiotics. Semiotics. Everything symbolizes something, right? On some kind of level. Everyone does something with, whether they consciously think about it or whether they subconsciously think about it. They're doing what they're doing for a reason. They do or do not understand, but it's with an intent. It always has an intention behind it, right?
Mm.
So I'm like, all right, I see like somebody just American flag, everything. Well, they know how I probably feel about my country right now. They probably they probably know. They probably understand how I feel about this place and my place in this place. But their goal was to hopefully maybe get me to see them in that or with that and get a little uncomfortable, maybe a little disenchanted. They want to remind me of whose country they believe it is, and who it belongs to, and that they're proud of it. What this or else, right? You should too, or you can get the fuck out of here. You like, and that might not be everybody. It might be the owner of Rex Kwando Taekwondo. You know what I'm saying? He just likes to do roundhouse kicks and American flag pants. I don't know, but it's taken on a different meaning, and they know what that new meaning is. They developed that new meaning. Those are your new patriots, like, and their vision or their version of America doesn't necessarily have you in it. It doesn't. And what they're dressed up for is tomorrow's America, and doesn't really have you in it. They don't have you in mind, per se, because they know for a fact that we're not about to just lay down and just accept this country as it is and as it stands. But what they're proud of is what this country is and what it stands for and how it currently stands. They know that we ain't about to be down with that, but they're decked out. They want to have a conversation, right? You know, it's the same kind of way in some instances where some, you know, a nice lady, she might be shy. You're in a public space, maybe at a bar, and she kind of positions herself to possibly be approached. This is old school. I don't know what the new chicks be about because they be on some weird shit. But you know, this is how I used to go. Like they, you know, they would try to position themselves. They're not just gonna. They're gonna be coy. You know, have an air of class and mystery. So they're just gonna put themselves in the kind of area, general
and if they've
area.
been raised to say a woman doesn't approach and so on and so forth.
They're gonna put themselves in range. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're hoping you. They're hoping you get on your mansion, just slide up there and just see what's up. Introduce yourself and just see what happens and see where it goes. Doesn't happen often. You know, guys are chicken shits, and you know, it's a different kind of environment out there. I understand, but that sort of thing. And so they also posture. It's posturing. This is what animals do. Watch National Geographic. It's posturing, right? It's the same thing as you puffing your chest down. You know what I'm saying? Looking bigger than you are. Bullfrogs do that shit. You know what I'm saying?
It's all the shit that they tell us to do if you come across a bear.
Well, yeah.
Like wave your arms, make noise.
You know what I'm saying? Look bigger than you are, right? And so it's posturing. I know this. I can just, it's energy too. It's the kind of energy that they have, you know, as well. I know what it is. I know what it is. I've been acquainted with this my entire life. I know what this shit is. I know what it means. And I know that you don't know that I know what it means, but you hope that I do. You want this to be something that I'm not going to allow it to be, but you wouldn't mind going there if I was willing to go.
Yeah, or they want to implant the idea in your head that you then take 4 or 5 steps down the road, and then all they've done is say, "Hey,
that's
boy,"
right,
or
that's
whatever.
Right. Yeah, it's that kind of attitude. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's right. Well, you know, where they're from. I know what it means. I know what it is.
So let's I've got 2 dogs that I need to feed here. They've been staring at me like crazy. They're gonna eat my leg.
What are the dogs' names, by the way?
Oh my gosh! Well, there's Gracie, and then there's Hannah, and then there's Miri, Miri.
Shout out to Gracie, Hannah, and Miri.
Yeah, and Hannah just had open chest surgery last week, so Hannah is downstairs, isolated from the other 2.
So is everyone else.
Had her lungs collapsed, so Hannah is socially distancing from these other 2. But she's on the mend, so she got a major surgery, so she's on the mend. But how do you you know, we talked at the very beginning about low expectations. What do you think happens in Minneapolis from a result standpoint? And what do you hope happens? And are they the same or are they different? What you expect and what you hope?
I'm interested in the immediate justice, but what I'm also obviously like that's by default. What I'm intrigued by and fascinated by is whether or not this was transformative. Transformative. I mean, it is now in us to give a fuck about us. Because I'm talking about us, big us, not little us, not lowercase us, capital us, like all of us. Because I think that for the first time, and I've had conversations, I made it a point to have a conversation with my dad and just with my elders, my black elders. I wanted to
Yeah,
go.
how are they taking it?
I haven't talked to Mama yet, so thanks for reminding me. I'm gonna call her tomorrow. Um,
Okay, call your mother.
and no, Mama is not
Oh,
mom.
Momo, is that your grandma?
Mama was my grandma. My
That was
dad
my grandmother too. We called my grandmother Momo.
for real? Yeah.
Yeah,
Mama, man. M-A-W,
yeah,
M-A-W. Mama. That's funny. That's that
yeah.
country shit. We're country boys.
It is. It's
That's that
totally
country
country.
shit. It isn't ma'am. Yeah, it's mama.
Yeah, Momo.
Mama. Hell no, that's funny, bro. So
Yeah,
I made it a
my
point.
grandma, my Momo Juanita.
Okay.
That was Juanita. Yeah,
She got a sister name too.
I know.
Yeah, that's the sister's name right there. Like
And cook like one too. Woo,
man,
woo.
but to answer your
Yeah, the elders that you
question.
talk to.
Yeah, so what was the question again?
I was asking what do you think is going to happen in Minneapolis,
Oh,
and what do you hope happens, and are they different?
right.
Like, do you
So
think they're going to get convicted, or do you think something's going to go wrong?
so put them bitches in jail. And then again, I'm more intrigued by, I mean, we're used to getting let down, but I'm more intrigued by whether or not this is transformative because this shit will just cease to fly. It will cease to be okay. It never was okay. But I think this was more transformative because I see kids out there on the streets,
I know.
young white people and young people of other, other groups, other ethnicities outside of ours, outside of black folk, fighting for black people. And this justice sounds way more specific because Common in one of his songs with John Legend, I want to say, was talking about justice ain't, this justice ain't specific enough. That's what he means. We're trying to, this is not about race, it's about humanity. No, I don't need any of that diluted motherfucking bullshit. This is highly concentrated. We're talking about a specific group. We're talking about black lives. It's everyone else already gives a fuck about everybody else. But what remains to be seen is whether or not anybody else gives a fuck about us because we've always had to go this alone. And there have been some white people sprinkled in there throughout all time. That ain't nearly enough. I need every last one of these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Everybody that looks like everything else from every other place, all of you benefit. Everyone fucking benefits but us. Everybody needs to be out there on the streets. We can take this fucking day off. As far as I'm concerned, we've done nothing but carry. You know what I'm saying? But like everyone else's plight on our backs, including ours. You know what I'm saying? And so,
Well,
transform.
the hope is that this specific scenario and this specific case becomes the general rule, right? Like we hope everybody extrapolates from that to just apply to not just to honor the memory of George Floyd, but to just become the norm.
And
And
honor the existence, like honor the memory of George Floyd and everyone else who's fallen and succumbed to this
yeah,
bullshit.
because
And
it's not
also
just about him.
honor the existence of black lives, black bodies, because black lives matters, like period. And so what's important, and I think is transformative about this is that guess what? These kids, this generation ain't been through a motherfucking thing, dude, until COVID-19 and until this.
Yeah,
This will
yeah.
transform this whole generation's life now, the world over, because the world is talking about Black Lives Matters. The
Mm-hmm.
world sees this today because we are on the world stage. We never expected this, but man, are we like, man, are we poised in a beautiful position right now as a humanity, as a whole human race, And so this generation can't unsee this, can't unhear this, can't unexperience it. This has transformed tomorrow. Like it's already changed. We don't know how, but it's about to be better.
My grandfather. By the way, you introduced me at the beginning. So my full name being Rich Finley Schumate. Finley Schumate was my pawpaw.
All
Okay,
right, Papa.
yeah, pawpaw Finley, Finley Schumate, and he used to say all the time. He was like, he called me son, even though I'm his grandson. He was like, son, you need to give people roses while they can smell them, and hopefully, moving forward, that is what um, the world and especially white people in this country, like that we truly start to understand and appreciate black folks for who they are. And like we don't we I mean, look, I think George Floyd is going to go down as a name that we never forget. I mean, that's certainly my hope. You know, the legacy that it seems like he's going to leave behind um, is going to be incredibly impactful and hopeful. And I hope that, you know, I hope that gives his family some kind of comfort in some way, shape, or form. I know that the state of Minnesota is going to give his family a lot of comfort because the lawsuits will be flying. But there are more important things than money. But I just think the legacy of what's happened here for somebody who has benefited from just popping out the color that I was. I didn't really have anything to do with it. But I, I really hope that this is the one. Like you mentioned earlier about a perfect storm. I mean, this kind of, if this was going to happen, not that you would, like before COVID, right? Like we would never sit around and go, okay, well, what would the perfect scenario have to be for the world's attention to be shined on this issue? Like we would never write this because like nobody could see COVID coming, that kind of thing. But when you look at all the events that have happened, you got people not working, you got people pent up, you got people already irritated and angry, and just in general about stuff that's not even like you just looking at your roommate going, I'm getting pretty tired of looking at your mug, that kind of thing. But now have something legitimately come along that legitimately deserves your ire and your animus and all of your frustration to be poured into. It really is kind of the perfect storm. And it's it's weird, like the looting that has taken place and stuff like that. Like I'm not down for the looting. I think it's terrible that some people who were just opening their doors, um, with the economy opening back up, like that this would happen to their businesses. And I mean, you got a lot of people of all colors, white, black, Asian, whatever the case may be, who have been affected by the looting. As far as like property damage, this is kind of the first time in my life where I'm like, the property damage, no, I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it.
Man.
And like everybody has tried to bastardize MLK's statement. MLK said, oh, I'm going to butcher it. I'm not going to remember it correctly, but he said, violence is the action of people who are not heard. Something along the lines of that. And that wasn't a threat on his part. That was just an empathetic understanding of what happens to people when they're not heard. And it's a cautionary tale. It's not MLK endorsing violence or anything like that, but it's him saying, look, if things don't change, shit is going to get broken, you know, because because socially shit is already broken. So then physical shit gets broken. So there are so many terrible stories. I heard a story today. What is the guy's name? Is it David Dunn or David Dorn? I think it's Dorn. 77-year-old black man security guard trying to protect a business that was being attacked by looters and got killed. There's like footage of him dying on the street. And 77 years old, and he was a former cop, and he's somebody who's lost his life to the looting process. African American man, and we won't hear as much about him, unfortunately. And there are so many tragic tales of people who have been hurt by this process. But I hope, and rest in power to all those people, and rest in power to the good cops. Like we gotta celebrate the good cops too. I had a conversation with a cop yesterday, yesterday in Glendale, and I went up to him and I was like, how are things for you guys? I said, we're in Glendale, so I imagine your activity level is up, but not quite up like other communities. And then he laughed and he said, yeah, that's true. And then we started talking about it. And Travanti, the anger in this cop's voice, this Armenian cop, the anger in his voice about what the Minneapolis police force and the ripple effect that they've even felt here in Glendale, California. Like, he was so angry. And he was like, that guy just does all of us a disservice. And he said, I wish I could have been there to pull my gun on him myself to get him off that. He was like, we're not trained that. We're not taught that here. I don't know what they're taught in Minnesota. He was like, but it does so many of us a disservice. So, I think one of the most powerful words that any of us can ever use, whether we're talking white, black, men, women, anything, is the word those. And like, we need to point the finger at those shitty cops, those shitty white people. And it's too easy for any of us, like whether it's white people wanting to be afraid of black people or paint them all with one brush or whatever. It's like, no, if you have a problem with one individual, that's that individual, So I just hope that the legacy of all of this stuff. I hope we look back on this in like 5 years and go, man, like, ever since then. I mean, I don't live in a fantasy world. I don't think things are going to be perfect in 5 years, but it sure would be great to look back on it and say, man, there's a significant difference. Like, it'd be beautiful. It'd be beautiful to see, and that's what I hope. Um, but I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I'm really hopeful, but I'm nervous. I don't want to be disappointed, and I haven't been disappointed anywhere near as many times as you. But I'm hoping, man. I'm rooting real hard. I mean, I've been a Portland Trailblazers fan for 30 years, so I'm used to disappointment. So, I'm pulling hard.
Let's just put the work in then.
You're right.
Let's see to it that let's fucking work.
And it's conversations like this, like, white
this is part of that work.
That's right. White folks got to realize, like, look, just ask questions. Say, hey, how can I help? Is this thought process helpful? Is it not helpful? Show me a better way. And again, white people are awesome. So you guys are going to be real forgiving of us stubbing our toe if you feel like we're trying to take the right step.
That's how we do it, man. Those were I couldn't have said it better myself, for real.
Oh, man. Yeah, you could have. You're way more eloquent.
That ain't true. No, you.
Well, I love you, man.
I love you too, my brother. Rich Finley Schumate, what are your socials, sir? And I thank you so much for coming by.
I mean, people can check out my acting website. It's just richfinley.com.
Rich.
I've been real quiet because I'm on that low key lawsuit tip for my car accident.
Oh.
So I don't really need to blow up my socials too much. But,
bro, I've been quiet on socials in general, shit, because that shit is whack.
Yeah, exactly.
I just put work up there, shit.
But I'm so grateful that you wanted to jump on and talk. I've been thinking about you so much during all this stuff because
we had to talk anyway, bro. Way too much has happened since the last time. Remember when there was a time that you and I were just sitting down together in the same place at the same time watching Diggstown?
Dude, Diggstown.
So much has happened since. So
one of my favorite ever. Well, we also sat in the car across from Starbucks in Glendale doing this very thing for like 3 hours.
Yo, right?
that was like the last time, I think. I think that was the last time.
That was the last time. Too much time has elapsed. We can't let this happen again.
Way too much. But anyway, thank you so much. I consider it an honor that on the day that these other cops got charged, that you chopped it up with me and talked with me. considered a great honor.
Hey, brother, you're a gentleman and a saint, man. A gentleman and a scholar, man. I love you to pieces, bro. You know that, and I'm just happy that you stopped by, man. Was shooting the shit with me today, man. And there'll be plenty more. So,
and let's get the NBA back. I'm dying.
yo, so
Like,
we got the UFC so far, which
yeah,
I was hyper excited about.
I'm sure.
And let's get this NBA back, bro. And if you got
Yeah.
2K,
No, I don't.
all right. Let's just bring the
Come
NBA
on, you
back.
already bagged on me for being 57 years old and not knowing technology. So
I'm sure there's.
I don't have 2K.
That's
Anyway,
cool.
I'll talk to you soon. I love you, man.
My brother, love you too, man.
Take care.
You too.
Bye.